Use that StarCraft 2 micro. Just flicker
Yeah,
between tabs like a
that's the
pro.
thing. I was horrible at StarCraft 2.
Are you gonna have all the data sheets also on your stream?
I'm gonna have them. I have them on the side to reference. I am probably not gonna pull them up on the screen because I'm a
Yeah.
good boy for GW still. But I will reference them as we talk through these for sure. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Let us know if you can hear us. I'm giving chat a few seconds to catch up. Hi, hi. Hello, Wix. Welcome, welcome. Soul Searer, I'm here to acquire knowledge and paint some hammer zerks at the same time. It's absolutely hammer time. Hopefully we don't discourage you from where we place them in the tier list. But yeah, enjoy the night. I'll give people a few more seconds to just confirm they can all hear us. Where's the beard, Matt? Ah, you're right. I should have got the beard out. It's too hot to use the beard. I got the fan right next to me. I got my water right here. You can hear
Actually,
just
just
fine.
trimmed blind.
Yeah. Good trimmed ears. Yeah, nice, man. I can't grow a beard, dude. I shaved mine today. My stubble, my nothingness. You should.
I had it all the way like down to here. And the cat scared me. Walked up behind me as I took a step back. And I just
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was really bad.
I would never shave if I could grow a beard. Good evening from Germany. Hello, hello. My fellow kin, we're joined tonight by two very special guests. We got Ronnie himself, and we have the Mad Kin Jordan, who is just lurking in the warp behind us. The Votann core itself speaking to the community. Hope you guys are all doing well tonight. I will just move this around a little bit. Yeah, okay. So
I like the Madkin.
The Madkin is nice. I think that's a good nickname.
Cute.
The Madkin.
Let me. Okay, good. I was giving my thing a second to catch up. Ronnie may blip in and out of existence on the stream as I minimize the Discord tab to just keep my eyes on the stream itself. But yes, so we have a very special stream for you guys tonight. We're going to be doing kind of like a first thought impression tier list for the units. We'll probably incorporate, of course, in this conversation some of the detachments. I think it's going to be really interesting. Ronnie, Jordan, and myself, we all have, I would say, different play styles that we like to lean towards, especially for Index. We had different favorite units. I know Jordan was the biggest advocate for Thunderkin. Ronnie was the biggest hater, for sure.
Relax.
I've never seen Ronnie take Thunderkin before. So I think it should be really interesting to see how we all kind of rate these units, these data cards. So many changes. And like many of you guys, we haven't really had an opportunity to play. I know Ronnie got a few games into test, so he'll have some good experience, some hands-on experience to share with how units kind of felt on the table. But for Jordan and myself, it's really just been kind of theory crafting and looking at different deployments on TTS and things like that. So, boys, how you guys doing tonight? Ronnie, doing good?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Nice.
Very excited.
Very nice. Jordan, how about yourself?
Doing pretty good.
Lovely. Okay, I'm just finding a way that I could have both of these. Oh, perfect. I could put them side by side. Wonderful. The dreaded message retracted. It's gone to the warp. All right. So I guess like for the tier list itself, we kind of split this up into. I consulted with my fellow Kâhls here in the meeting, and it seems to be that this is the most, I would say, fair way to categorize things, kind of like what is an auto include in the army now going forward, kind of agnostic to whatever detachment you're running. What has like what I would say a really strong use case, so like some really good utility that you can argue like this has a very solid and clear role in a list, unlocking something maybe you didn't have access to before. I saw your comment on Art of War earlier this week, Rip Hearthguard. Yep, we'll get to that. And then we kind of have like the fine or like the flex pick, as Ronnie suggested, so things that you could kind of like substitute for other roles, but they might not be as efficient. And then we have the ECOG tier, which was coined by Jordan, which is kind of just like underwhelming. I left this one blank unless you guys could think of something else that goes here. I don't think there's anything that's like, I would never touch this with like a 10-foot pole, debatably anyway. But I'll keep this one open in case we do come to a disagreement somewhere. We could put it in there. So I guess like before we
Requires
jump in,
further discussion.
yeah, requires further discussion. Highly debated. Before we jump in, of course, we're going to be kind of referencing this based off the point values that everybody's been going with, like the Art of War points, the main ones that were revealed. And I think we all agree right out the gate, a lot of things are very overcosted for what they actually offer. And if the points do come down, this would change some of the rankings, I think, as we build this list out in terms of where things land. Hear you all good. Thanks, Lucas. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you guys. So chat, if you have any questions, if you feel like we're wrong about something, feel free to jump in and give us your opinion. Imperial Scraps as the finale. Yeah. I see you got a Hearthguard there for your picture, so maybe that'll be the first candidate. Okay, boys. So we can jump on in, I guess. Let's talk a little bit about, well, maybe first of all, Ronnie, we'll start with you, man. Like, what are your initial thoughts about the Codex, just like in general?
So overall, I'm a big fan of the book. There's a lot of good stuff for everyone to play, for all the different play styles. People who love the Steeljacks and the Thunderkin. They have the Ironkin detachment. I think it's really good. It's very niche, but also has some very powerful stratagems. Berserkers, the deep striking, the battle line, just play all of the shirtless, cracked out Berserks.
Yeah.
All the hammers, all the axes. I think it's going to be fun to play against. I lied, not against, but for. The bike detachment, I think, is going to have a lot of play, especially when the meta swaps over to more like lighter bodies. So you have all the indirect, all the earth shakers. Need guard index updated, I think, is fantastic. The fact that we have all of the same stratagems with some upgrades, I think, are great. That's the one I'm probably leaning towards through the most.
Mm-hmm.
The one, and then there's also the transport attachment. Has a lot of good play, but I feel like it's going to have a hard time staying below 7 yield points, where it wants you to be for a couple of the most powerful stratagems for that detachment. But overall, I give the book like a solid like 8 out of 10. We can shift from meta to meta and be able to respond to the meta with our new updated data sheets and detachments. So I'm very excited to see everything as it develops.
Very nice. Very nice. How about yourself, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Codex. I think it's much more complex, right? And because of it being so much more complex, it's gonna be a lot more fun to play with, right? And it's gonna be a lot more skill expression involved with the book. And like I think with what they've given us, I think we have to be very smart with what we include in list building and how we apply it on the table in conjunction with everything else that we put on the table. So
yeah,
it's cool. It's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna take some big brain in both list building and on the table to make a Votann list.
Smooth brain. That's all you need. Berserks. All of them. 60 Berserks.
60 Berserks. Yeah, I had a joke. So one of the guys on my team started playing Votann, and I have about like 30 Berserks, and I think he has like 20 Berserks. And I was like, hey man, day one, let's just merge all the Berserks, and one of us takes us to the next event. Just 50, 60 Berserks. I agree with both of you. I think, personally, I've shared my opinion about this a few times. I think it's a fantastic book. I was really worried, like I'm sure all of you guys were as well, how they would manage the transition of our army rule, getting rid of tokens and opening up the design space. I was really concerned that it would just be kind of like index and then everything else Hearthband level of unplayability, which was really concerning, obviously, when a whole faction rework is happening. But I'm happy to say I think they nailed it so far. Again, I haven't had any hands-on experience, but from what I've seen in battle reports, from what I've heard from talking to people and just theory crafting, like Jordan said, I think that the game has, for us, become a lot more technical. I think it became a lot less just, this does damage with +1 to wound, and I throw it forward, and I could kill anything in the game. I think now you actually need to be very deliberate with some of the inclusions in your list, and You do need to plan around your detachment and plan around these yield points, and kind of the positioning matters a lot more. It just got a lot more technical. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's still incredibly powerful, despite some of the datasheet points being a little expensive, which we'll talk about as we go through this. Hey, Pulp, welcome, welcome. Glad you made it. Glad you made it. Did you receive your Grimnyr yet in the mail? Let me know, buddy. Nice, catch you on stream. Hey, Jeremy, thanks for tuning in. A Tiny Goose has released one of his geese. Lovely, lovely. Armored Mage. Finale tiers Necromunda tech because they prepared not to be higher tech around Imperium. Yeah, I see. So it's kind of just like caveman level of technology. They're squishy, but the enemy will run out of bullets before you run out of Berserks. yeah, I think that's the plan, man. 60 Berserks, 60 Warriors, 3 Grimnyrs. Let's go. That is a wild list.
I'm actually a fan of Grimnyr now. Like, I was like iffy about him, but like his new ability,
yeah,
I'm a fan.
That's
I am a huge fan.
That's very interesting. Because I think Jordan had that opinion prior to the Codex, but now that has shifted. So when we get to that, this will be really exciting. Gonna miss tokens, but we need the last anger management and self-help. We needed the anger management and self-help courses. I agree. I think now we're better off releasing our anger and instead focusing on capitalistic
We're doing
gains.
great.
We're doing great.
We don't need a plus on a wound because we've directed our anger towards the things to be mad at, which are demons, Tyrannid, Knights. Anti 3+ is just great. I love it.
It's
so
really,
much.
really nice. All right, so let's dive on into the tier list. First up, we have Buri, our newest named character, a fan favorite. I guess we'll start off with Ronnie. What do you think about Buri?
So the model is sick. I love the model. I love the thought. I love the lore behind it. But the thing is 110 points for 15 max damage. Between 10 and 15 damage, depending on if you do strike or sweep. I'm kind of iffy about. I think he's really good for a lone op. The Blood Surge to stand back up on a 2+ is great. But just for the 110 points versus like 5 Berserks for 100, I think the damage output is where I struggle. I can maximize damage output for 10 points less and almost triple damage. But the utility that Buri has, I think, is really good. So personally, I think he's like a good, strong case. However, I would probably put Berserks over Buri, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you in terms of the damage. My initial impression when I saw the data sheet was that it felt a little lackluster for what they were kind of hyping the role to be. Like this monster killer who doesn't really even have like anti-monster or anti-vehicle 3-up or something like that, or like lethals, which would help punch up with the damage. But the utility of him is really where he shines, of course. So, Jordan, how do you feel about Buri?
I think he's going to be in every one of my lists because he stands back up on a 2+. And he's a lone op with stealth and blood surge. And what the damage is poor for what he brings, right? And there's not too many ways to buff it in the book. I think like in Oathband you can make it extra AP2, right? So he's AP5. So like if a vehicle without an invul never comes into your vicinity, like you're crushing it, right? That's like where he shines the most. And then he kills like chaff with his sweep, which is like kind of weird for that type of character. Like he's an epic hero that kills specifically like vindicators and chaff. but it's very weird.
There is no in between.
Yeah, there's no in between.
If they have an invul, his damage is like 6 to 3 damage, and it's like, huh? But like what all of his other rules tell your opponent, right? With the stand back up, the lone op, the stealth, and the blood surge, is that if you put him on an objective, your opponent has to commit multiple resources, right? Like they can't just commit one in shooting because like stealth might ruin their plans, and probably not, but it might. But like you can't just be like, I'm going to take this Leman Russ and I'm going to shoot him from 12 inches away, right? Even if you kill Buri on a 2+, I just stand back up and I still hold the point, right? You have to commit a shooting resource and a melee resource, and they have
Yeah.
to be real units. They can't be just like fake trash, right?
I agree.
So
Yeah.
What
it
I
lets
do
us,
like
yeah,
is he's got precision built into his strike. So he is not only supposed to be this like anti big thing, he hunts characters very effectively, and I feel like that's a better role for him. It's hey, I'm gonna go into this unit, and I don't care what kind of body you have. I don't care if you're Marnius Calgar. It's AP 3 damage 3 precision at strength 12, 5 attacks, hitting on twos. That is great.
Yeah.
Like Calgar has to deal with Buri. I
Yeah.
don't think that's in any lore, but it should be. It should be in all the lore.
Yeah.
The final showdown
It's not the
between
dreadnoughts that need to be afraid; it's the characters. So I think like Sam P says in chat here, like even if they printed Buri with no melee weapon, he'd still be an auto include for him. And it's really just like the design, the play pattern that opens up by having Buri in your list is something we never had access to, right? Like just like Jordan said, like that ability to just put him on an objective and say, okay, you got to bring 2 resources out really to deal with me, and you need to overextend to actually do it. And that even if you do kill me, if you're not on that objective, I get back up and I control it again. So it's going to suck if you roll a 1 on that 2-up, though. But
Yep.
I do think he has a really strong use case as well. I do agree with Ronnie here that like 110 is a big chunk of points for your list for this guy. But he's undeniably very strong. I feel like I would put him in strong use case, like very, very strong use case, like almost auto include. How do you guys feel about it?
I can agree with that. I would say strong use. I don't think he should be an auto include in every list because again, that means that it fits every playstyle and it fits every list.
Yeah.
I think strong use is he's very good for what he does. I think he should come down at some points before he's an auto include. But there are moments where been tempted to put him in one of my lists.
Yeah. You okay with that, Jordan?
I'm inclined to say auto include, but I can see Ralph's points for a strong
Okay.
case.
I'd put him
I
like
agree,
right at the
he doesn't-
cusp.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't have a place in every detachment. I think he gets like, it's like Oathband is probably his best detachment, and I don't know if he works as great in other detachments.
Wait, you don't want to give him? Wait, what is it? What is the detachment where you do pile driver? I wish you could put like enhancements on epic heroes and just
that'd be great.
pump his damage.
That would be great. A Tiny Goose says, I like him as a Berserk squad that only takes 1 seat in a honky chonk. That's true. You know, you could, I mean, that is a really nice play. You get him, start him on the board, in a vehicle, disembark, move, and then get on the objective for your natural expansion. I kind of mocked it up on a few GW layouts, and it looks like on average you have to roll a 2 on the advanced roll to touch your expansion. Which, because you're going to start the game in your acquisition, your hostile acquisition form, you get to re-roll that. It's the odds of you getting a 2 across 2 dice is very high. 2 re-rolls, rather, I should say. Okay, so we will next touch upon our last named character, Uthar.
So Buri cannot lead any characters or any units. Yeah, he doesn't have any leader abilities. He's lone op, lone wolf, cool, smack, beat stick. That is what Buri does.
Yep. Agreed. And now we move on to Uthar, who received quite the glow up this Codex. He rarely saw play. It was kind of just like a meme pick to flex a little bit if you wanted to with him. But I would say right out the gate, the guy's an auto include right now in any detachment.
I 100% agree.
He'll be in
I
every list.
love Uthar.
Yeah.
He will be in every list until we get another Codex.
Yeah,
that's how strong his.
Yeah, before I was like, Uthar's kind of meh. I'm not really a fan of Uthar. And then it was, hey, Uthar's a captain strat, and you have no way to gain additional CP. And I'm like,
Yep.
I like this.
Yep.
I think I need this.
Yep.
An aura.
So for those of you who don't know, his new ability is he gets to essentially have an aura of 12 inches, and you reduce the cost of a stratagem for anything in that aura once per round by 1. So if you play very cagey with him, you can essentially get 5 free CP per game. 4 to 5, I'd say. Like, you'll probably be trading him at the very last round, if anything. But 4 to 5, pretty consistent CP per game. Extra and strat support, which is fantastic. He doesn't have Lone Up, unfortunately, but still very, very strong. Sam says, Uthar the Goated. Uthar the Thrice Goated. Yeah. Yeah, not a captain, a Primarch. yeah, he's a Primarch.
He is the God Emperor himself.
We got the
For the
Emperor.
dwarves.
He just cracked the chair. He's not standing on rocks.
It's not
Stands
Uthar
behind
the
walls.
Destined, it's Destiny Daddy. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Destiny Daddy.
Destiny Daddy, the goated. Not much else to say about him. I think he's just a straight up auto include. We all agree on that. Next we have, for regular characters, we'll kick things off with the Arkanist Evaluator, a unit that I was extremely skeptical about upon seeing the model itself and hearing the rules, and still skeptical about to this very moment. I will start with Jordan on this one. How do you feel about the Arkanist?
Okay, I think he's really cool. His damage. I would like him more if Sagittars were not the price that they are now. Because I think he almost necessitates being in a Sagittar, right? Because the Sagittar can advance and disembark, and you need to close into rapid fire range to get value out of this guy.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at his data sheet, you have to look at the cost of a Sagittar as well, and like how strong the Sagittar is right now is it goes hand in hand almost with the Evaluator. But what he brings, like, you get YP when you kill things, and he brings natural sustained hits 1. You don't have to pump strats into him, right? In Oathband, you could put reroll hits of 1, reroll wounds of 1, and he naturally sustained hits 1. And so now, like, you can kill a 5-man Marine squad fairly reliably almost every time, which will feed you some YP.
Okay.
I just think he's kind of expensive for it right now. I think there is a price point where this character is good, but I think his current price point is a little bit too much.
I don't think
Is
I was
that,
expecting
what,
75. 75.
Oh, 75. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts.
It's weird. It's because I think part of his cost is inherent with the Sagittar.
Yeah.
It's not just strictly his cost. Are you bringing Sagittars right now? Question
So,
mark.
personally, I would think he goes in bind/flex. He is going to be completely reliant on points, other units that support him. But to me, he's a 75-point free assassinate that activates one time and dies.
Yep.
Like, it's not even the fact that he will die because he kills himself, because he doesn't. It's more the fact that someone will just throw away a 70, 80, 90-point unit to kill him. And if they draw Assassinate, he's free Assassinate points.
Yeah.
And if you're taking multiple of them, I understand like 2 side-by-side that just smack. Something that I would be interested in seeing is he is not Lone Up by himself. My question is, if you have 2 of them side-by-side, they gain Lone Up, but he says he gains Lone Up, but not if he's by another Lone Up. So if 2 of them are side by side, do they gain Lone Up?
I see what you're saying.
No, they don't. It's because it's like,
dumb.
Yeah, you have to stand him by another infantry unit. Like he could stand by Uthar, right, and get Lone Up, but if he stands by another Lone Up and the other Lone Up is the only thing within range, then he does not get Lone Up.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, no. Personally, I'm not a fan. He, like I said, he activates one time and dies. It's for 75 points. 5 points more, I can get 3 Thunderkin. I can get 3 Bites. I can get a lot better units for 5 points more. Yeah. And I will gladly spend the 5 points.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Ronnie here. I think for myself personally, the other issue, like you mentioned, Jordan, is that like it's a 2-for-1. Like if you take an Arkanist, you have to take a Sagittar. And at that point, like, if you're going to commit this guy in a Sagittar, you're going to have 5 warriors inside to give him Lone Up. And, like, ideally, the circumstances are you send the Sagittar out with the warriors and the Arkanist to deny primary and then kill something like a trading piece, pick up a resource. So, like, you're committing essentially, like, 3 resources to get this guy in range, which at 75, man, it's, like, crazy.
It's way too expensive.
Like, am I crazy to say that he should be like 50 points? Honestly, I don't know.
I think 60 to 65 should be a better. So my issue right now with our Codex is a lot of the new stuff that we got are cool. They're shiny. A lot of people want to play it. But when you compare it to our updated data sheets and points, if it's 80 points for this versus 85 for this, or 65 versus 70 or whatnot, it's a points thing for me because I'm a big fan of MSU, multiple activations, hard hitting units that have no issues dying.
Yeah.
Which Berserks, when we get there, I'm a big fan. I just the points he's at is it makes it difficult to just take him over something else.
Yeah, and I think that's a recurring theme as we go through this that we'll touch on is I have found while I'm list building right now is I don't have the luxury of squeezing in like a small thing that I think would help me out or provide like a little bonus. Like I don't have that luxury because the points are so high on a lot of the key units we need to take. For example, like land forts being 240, which we'll get to. But it's like when you're eating up so many points in core essential pieces in your list, you can't just bring something in that's like, oh, like this could be nice to have. It's really got to be lean. You got to make sure you're spending your points as efficiently as possible. I just think he's a bit expensive. So I'm okay if you guys want to put him in fine/flex. I could see a use like if Sagittars come down in points or he comes down in points, I could see people taking him, especially in maybe the vehicle detachment, for example, where like you disembark, you get all kinds of buff applied to you through the 6-inch aura or whatever. So I'm fine with flex if you guys are good with that.
I agree. Fine and flex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be better personally if you like swap all the abilities. As like it would make a lot more sense if he's trying to kill smaller things so he gets more shots. And then if he's trying to kill bigger things, he gets less shots, but they should deal more damage, more strength. Because when they described him, there's like, oh, it means death. It's destroying things on an atomic level.
Yeah.
It's three damage. He's killing himself is what's actually happening.
Yeah, he's atomizing himself. Sam says he should have been 45 points with a one-shot 72-inch gun with mega hazardous and he strips cover. That would be pretty funny. A bazooka.
On a 1 through 3, he just dies. However, it's 72-inch railgun. D6 plus 6 damage.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
That'd be hilarious.
All right, so next up we have the humble Iron Master. He was taken pretty regularly, I'd say, in Index Votann. Like people were running him solo to repair vehicles. He got a really nice quality of life improvement for lone op while he's next to vehicles. And I think, does it apply to Steeljacks as well, the lone op? I don't recall.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Hernkyn, Steeljack, or Leaf of Votann vehicle.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And now, of course, he still attaches to Thunderkin. And he provides reroll wounds of 1, I believe, is his new data sheet buff. So, and he also heals, of course, still. So, how do we feel about this? Maybe I'll start with this one, and then you guys could chime in. So, I think he's also fine. I could see, depending on what you're running, and depending on who speaks next, I can see a use case, somebody saying strong use case. I think he's fine. I think it comes down to the same argument Ronnie had earlier, where I just don't have the points to take this guy in my list that I would like to include, and I'm just too lean on points to have him in. I think he provides a really nice buff, like the reroll ones are solid, but it feels like with a lot of the stratagem support that you have, especially with Index, the Index Need Guard detachment, I should say, like you have Hunter's Mark, so you reroll hit rolls of 1, wound rolls of 1. He becomes a little redundant there. Uthar gives it for free. The heal is a little bit less efficient, well, significantly less efficient on 2 wound Thunderkin, who kind of just die like when they're shot at or picked up. The heal is fine. There's a cheeky little enhancement that heals for 4. It's cute, like whatever. I don't even remember which attachment it's in, but like whatever, it's okay. So I think he's fine for me. The ablative wounds are probably the biggest selling point now because, the Thunder can punch hard, and you want to make sure all 6 of them commit and are able to survive the Overwatch. So that's probably the biggest use case. If you tell me, like, yeah, the ablative wounds are why I would run him, I could understand that. But maybe we'll go in with Ronnie first on the on the Iron Master. What do you think?
So I'm a big fan because when we get to Thunderkin, he is an auto include with a 6-man. because you want to have those elative wounds for the 6-man. Because you don't want to just lose 160 points to nothing.
Fair.
To just bolt cannons.
Fair.
Being able to pop a couple ECOGs or the Iron Assistant before losing Thunderkin, the thing that actually hit hard, I think is great. Also, just taking him without the unit, I think he replaces what Buri would do, because how many vehicles we're going to be taking, because how many vehicles we have in the army, he's going to be blown up. You just string out an ECOG within 3 of a vehicle, and he becomes blown up. So it's less points for what Buri does, which what we talked about is it's his ability to be lone operative.
Yeah.
That we enjoy the most is just tow him onto an objective, be within 3 of a vehicle, and then just stand there. Come get me. 75 points versus 110 is quite a big jump compared to what we could put in for the remainder of points. I run him with a lot of Beamerkin. Because just him, actually just any 6-man, is, again, those wounds are a lot more valuable than you think. I was not a fan of him in Index until I started running a lot like the bricks of Thunderkin. Then he was just an auto-clued. So I feel like if you're running 6 Thunderkin, you're running the Iron Master with him, so you can last longer. Also, his 3 shots with the 1 bolter shot from the ECOG going into another unit, while the other 6 just lay into something.
True.
Those 6 or those 3 Iron Master shots and that bolter shot, if it hits something, you can go, cool, I'm going to strip cover there, and I'm going to lay into this unit. So my land fort with beamers can just ignore cover, or my 6-mana bikes can just ignore cover and just lay into that other unit.
Yeah, that's very, very reasonable and fair. I agree. The ablative wounds is the biggest selling point for sure. The lone up as well. You can do some cheeky stuff by just standing him out in the open, like you said. Jordan, what do you think about the Iron Master?
Yeah, he's pretty good. I think the real ones is best with the Gravkin, right? Because the beamers already have lethal hits. So, if you pop sustained hits too, then you get some use out of the reroll ones with the Iron Master. But otherwise, like if he's in a 6-man beamer unit, then you're not getting too much use out of the reroll ones to wound. But like all of the benefits of joining the unit to add durability and to shoot something else and grip cover is really strong. He's a lone op, right? Like he's incredible. I think he's pretty good. One of our better characters for sure.
Yeah, I didn't consider the implications with the lone up that he gets. Okay, so where do you guys want to put him? So Ronnie, you seem to be pretty big on the auto include. I'd probably say strong use case, like very strong again. Jordan, where do you land with this?
Yeah, I think he's strong.
Strong? So 2 to 1.
I would agree we put him in strong use above Buri.
Oh, okay. Okay. Controversial.
He does what Buri does for cheaper, and he also has use with units.
That's controversial.
I don't think he does the same thing as Buri, because Buri stands back up on a 2+ with Blood Surge, right? Which
Buri
is like the Iron Master
doesn't win a Land Raider on a 3+.
No, he doesn't.
But the Iron Master does. He wounds a Nord on a 3+. He wounds on a Land Raider on a 3+. You can pump AP, so it's 9/3/3.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Let's let chat decide this one. So he is in strong use case. Chat, you let me know if you guys want to have Buri below or above the Iron Master. Put your biases aside and think competitively. Where does he belong? Let me know.
Above Buri. That's what he's there for. He's just so good. I think he could go back down to 65 points.
Yeah.
But I think he's really good.
Yeah.
I think he's good too.
I think he's very good.
Deny that.
Also in chat, I'm seeing a lot of people say that he can lead Steeljacks. He cannot.
Yeah.
Only thing he can lead is Hernkyn Warriors and the Thunderkin. I actually wish he could lead Steeljacks, because in the Ironkin detachment where you go, here's my tank shock for now 11 dudes, because it's 5 for the Iron Master and friends and 6 for the Steeljacks. 11, 12, 13 dice because you spend points to get more dice.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome, but he
He
cannot.
He
I was
would work
very
really
sad.
well, right? Because that detachment naturally lets you reroll hits of 1.
Yeah,
And he would give
he can heal Steeljacks, but he cannot lead them.
yeah, and then he would give them reroll wounds of 1. So your Steeljacks could be running around with rerolling hits of 1 and wounds of 1. So alas, he cannot GW in their balancing ways.
Oh, I gotta sign in. Yes.
We have the votes coming through. We'll keep going for now. So we do have next the E-Champ. Used to be one of my favorite units to run in the list. Solos, leading Hearthguard, just like an absolute beat stick. He was super tough, really durable, and he has changed a little bit. I believe he actually went up in points again. Well, now I think he went to 75, if I'm not mistaken.
He's 70.
He's 70.
He's 70 points.
Okay, so he went up 10 points. He was our cheapest character before. Went up 10 points, and his damage got a little bit better because he went up in AP. His ability did change. He provides +1 to your charge roll. I think personally, I think this is one of the cases where if I had extra points, I would take him. But I cannot see a really strong argument to include him because we lost the +1 to wound, which is where he really shined. Jordan, why don't you take this one away?
He has the curse of going hand in hand with the Hearthguard datasheet. And and I think that curse weighs heavily on his soul. And he's not going to be seen very often, if ever. You know,
That breaks my heart, man. It breaks my heart what they did. They did them so dirty. My beautiful, thick boys. They did them so dirty.
So I have some anger with this data sheet because they give a lot of codexes, right? They give them 6-inch deep strike and charge. Okay, I say a lot. There's more. It's like demons and death, right? But it's very blatant with Death Guard how easily they can apply just this kill unit of Death Shroud with 6-inch charge.
Yeah.
Deep strike and charge. A Hearthguard unit and an E-Champ still has to deep strike 9 inches away. And then you have to like play against the Hearthguard's datasheet ability, which is rerolling hits of 1 to the closest, because you don't want to shoot what's closest to you, right? And that's like the strongest thing about Hearthguard is their shooting. So it's like you want to deep strike and then try for an 8-inch charge, which fails like 30% of the time with the free reroll, which is just like, what are we doing here? Like, we're not taking Hearthguard for melee, we're taking Hearthguard for shooting, but it's for a 9-inch deep strike for an 8-inch charge. Like, they could have made it like, given that they've given other codexes 6-inch charges, they could have given this 6-inch charge. Instead, they decided to make it very fair and make it a 9-inch deep strike with an 8-inch charge.
Yeah, that could have been interesting to see him allow the unit to 6-inch deep strike, which, you know, even if Hearthguard are lackluster right now, it could have actually made them very interesting to include one set. Ronnie, how do you feel about the E-Champ?
They massacred my boy. So I was a big fan of him, especially running him solo inside like a land fortress, because you could just send him at a knight and just pump AP and just go, cool, you don't got to save, D6 +1 damage. He went up 10 points, which makes that a lot more awkward. It was a whole lot easier to do it at 60 points.
Yeah.
I feel like the only value with his ability is running him with a 5-man, deep striking on turn 2, which your opponent probably has a lot of chaff still out there, pushing you back. Doing that 8-inch charge with the reroll, I think that's the only value you really have with that. Besides, someone also mentioned it, I was thinking the same thing, is if you take the axe and the Berserker detachment, you take the pile driver, which makes his axe go up, I think it's like 2 or 3 damage. So he goes to 6 attacks at 6-3, like 5, 6-3-6.
It's not bad.
Or 6-3-3, 6-3, no, 6-3-4, 6-3-5. That's pretty good. My issue is you gotta hope that you're playing against something that doesn't kill 2-up, 4-up as easily as he is.
Yeah.
Them losing their -1 a wound is kind of a problem. But like I said, if you're deep striking on turn 2, you're probably not in hostile, or you're not probably not in fortify, so you don't have that transhuman anymore until turn 3. So you better hope that you're going second if you're gonna. Actually, it doesn't even matter because it happens in your command phase.
Yeah.
I'd probably put him in like fine flex. He's really good, or he was really good, and he's good in damage, but that's it. We have Berserks for damage. We have shooting for damage. He's not needed for damage.
Yeah. I'm honestly tempted to drop him into ECOG tier right now. Maybe it's just because I'm so hurt. You are
I think
too?
he's terrible. Yeah, I think he's terrible.
Is this a 2-for-1 into ECOG tier?
Oh, I don't think he's horrible. Like, I think ECOG is like, you will rarely ever see this on the table, if any.
Yeah.
You'll still see. I swear, you'll still see the ECOG, or not the ECOG. I'm saying ECOG tier. You'll see the champion on the table at some point.
Okay.
And to prove a point, I'll probably do it anyway.
Let's put him after the Arkanist for now, but we'll reevaluate at the very end. Let's see what chat's saying here. Hearthguard are still good, at least on my tables. They still have more wounds than Steeljacks and have higher model count. It's so I think the 3 Steeljacks are tougher than the 5 Hearthguard, man. Personally, just having the 1 fewer wounds but on 3 wounds apiece. And being T6.
Extra toughness, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the Grimnyr now. So this used to be Jordan's favorite towards the end of the Index life cycle. And now, Ronnie, you said you're very excited.
Sam, you and I are on the same page. I don't know what data sheets are actually worth. Or what are actual... Okay, so you're saying that he's bad. What are worse than he is? We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. So, Ronnie, how do you feel about the Grimnyr now?
I think he's great. His ability going from +1 toughness to 5-up feeling of pain, I think is awesome. Granted, I think he would be better leading other units. But however, warriors being 4-up, 5-up, 5-up, and those ECOGs, or the corvs that are in his unit, get the 5-up feeling of pain.
Yeah.
They become 4-up, 4-up, 5-up. Okay. They will survive a good bit.
Yeah.
He's also still pretty cheap. I mean, granted his ballistic skill went down, but 2-up prior to the Codex, and then 3-up in the Codex, you're gonna get your +1 hit. It's just easier. It means that they're gonna be on the objective anyway because they're warriors, so he's gonna have a +1 hit anyway. The ignores cover is the issue, but if you're running 1x6, 2x3 Thunderkin, which will, I don't think stripping cover should be an issue.
Okay, I have opinions on this, but I think Jordan could summarize them better because he's kind of the one who spearheaded the revolution of taking Grimnyrs at the end of the life cycle. So, Jordan, how do you feel about the Grimnyrs?
I guess we need to talk about the Grimnyr of old, right? Really quickly. The Grimnyr of old he led these like doom stacks of warriors hopping out of hecatons, right? With full rerolls to wound, +1 to wound from judgment, and sustained hits 2, which is still relevant. You can still get that, but the warrior unit did a lot more damage with ignores cover, right? And so losing the +1 to wound and full wound rolls is really big for his data sheet, like for his weapon profile, right? Those were really important buffs. He doesn't have them anymore. You can't get them anywhere in the book. And there's a lot of competition in hecatons, right? Like, I think hecatons have much more use transporting Steeljacks and Thunderkin, right? Mm-hmm. So you're probably, I mean, there's no world where I think you see 10-man warriors and Grimnyr leading them, which means it's like, all right, well, where am I going to put this guy? And it's like, well, I'm going to put him in a 5-man with a Sagittar and warriors. And then you suddenly have this like 250-point Sagittar Grimnyr warrior unit that does nothing in damage. And is still fairly trivial because when you look at that, right, that unit's going to be hopping onto a point, right? That's the whole purpose of the unit. And they're going to be like, I have X amount of OC on the point. Let's say it's like, let's say you get all these models on the point and it's 13 OC on there. Your opponent doesn't have to kill the whole unit, right? All they have to do is look at how much OC they can put on there and kill whatever they need to kill to get it over to where they have the objective now, right? So you don't hold it coming their turn because they don't care about the damage this unit brings because this little Grimnyr and 5 warriors does nothing with damage. It's just the only thing you do with it is flip a point in your turn, and then it stands there menacingly, like from SpongeBob, the hash-slinging slasher.
Yeah.
And and it's just it doesn't put fear into anybody anymore. And the question it asks, I think, is fairly trivial to solve for many players. So.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point about the land fortress capacity. So a lot of units, as we'll get to, are fighting for that land fort capacity to get somewhere safely, stage, just deploy. So I think when you're actually taking him, you'll be taking him with 5, which means you're only getting the efficiency on half the squad, and the unit already has a 6-up, so it's not like you're giving them something they don't have. It's only 5 wounds, so on average, 2 of them, maybe a little bit more because you have the 2 ecogs for sure, who have the 4-up invuln. I think he's like fine flex. I would put him fine flex personally. Where do you guys think he should land?
I would agree. I would put him either towards the top of fine flex or towards the bottom of strong use. Again, this is also reliant on warriors.
Yeah.
Them losing ignores cover makes things a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But I think he should be towards the top of fine flex. Because the use that he has. Mm-hmm. But I do agree with you. I was over here still thinking about the land fort combo you'd have. But or putting him in the land fort. But stat shard losing scout, it becomes a kind of expensive trade unit.
Yeah.
Yep. I think he's in whatever is below fine. I really don't think you're going to see too much of him at all this edition.
I think it's just that argument that we're low on. We don't have enough points to like fit things in like this, like tech like this that isn't mandatory.
So yeah, I'd probably put him between the Arkanist and the champion.
Okay, that's where I was going to go for. Okay, just a couple characters left here. So the Kâhl. I'll take the lead on the Kâhl here. So the Kâhl got a little bit of a glow up, so he still provides lethals, and he now gives like yield points, I think, when you kill something with his unit. You can still you can attach to warriors, you're never going to do that, but he could also attach to... also, I just want to add for the Grimnyr, I think it would have been really cool if he could have attached to something else besides warriors, or maybe even the Feel No Pain was the aura buff rather than the Unbattle Shock. Like, that would have opened up a little bit more play, I think.
If the Grimnyr could lead Hearthguard, I think he's a lot better.
Yeah. It would have made sense with, like, okay, they're reducing the toughness, but they're gaining access to a Feel No Pain. I don't know. All right, so the Kâhl, he still provides Deep Strike for the unit with his crest, and he provides, I think, yield points when he kills something. The Kâhl. The Kâhl. So the Kâhl provides the yield points when he kills something, I believe. So I think like he goes hand in hand again with the Hearthguard here. I actually personally think if you're going to take Hearthguard, the Kâhl's probably better on them than the E-Champ. But I'll let you guys add on to that. So Ronnie, how do you feel about the Kâhl?
Oh, I'm kind of in the same boat with the E-Champ. Actually, he's lower on the boat than the E-Champ. The E-Champ actually has some very good damage. You're not going to want to give lethals to warriors. The fact that they don't ignore cover anymore is kind of bad. And then again, you're not really taking Hearthguard. Personally, again, we'll get there, but just like spoiler alert, D3 shots at strength 3 is nowhere near strength 4 D6 shots.
Yeah.
And then also going down to toughness is huge because there's a lot of damage 6 out there, and they don't have innate transhuman. So like bolters kill them very, very effectively.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Call below E-Champ personally.
Okay. I know, Jordan, you have a particular combo in mind that uses the Kâhl if somebody did want to take Hearthguard, which probably will push you the opposite opinion of Ronnie here. So why don't you walk us through that one?
So the call with what's the, I forget the name of the enhancement. It's like the speculator or whatever. It's the Oathband enhancement that gives you +1 to wound and it lets you reroll wounds of 1.
Yeah, the
right?
spectacular. Yeah.
Yeah. So you attach that, you put that on a call, you slap it into a Hearthguard unit, you're an Oathband. So now this unit deep strikes, they reroll hits of 1 naturally, they reroll wounds of 1 naturally, and you can spend the YP to get +1 to wound. And now you have lethal sustains, rerolling wounds of 1, rerolling hits of 1. You maybe hit on 2s if you're shooting something on an objective. Pretty good. The damage is really high with plasmas. Specifically, the grenade launchers are terrible now, right? Like, you don't care about the grenade launchers.
Yeah.
But the plasma gun is much better than it used to be. And if with just a little bit of juice from a Thunderkin, ignore cover, blink shot, right? That unit crushes fools. However, the unit is wildly too expensive
Yeah.
for what it brings.
It's
right?
a lot of hoops to jump through, and you pay a really steep price to get something that is good, but you could just get 6 Thunderkin instead. You know?
I mean, I don't think it's really too many hoops. It's pretty self-sufficient, right? Like you get all these. You don't have to put the only strat you have to put into it is sustained hits too. You don't even have to put Hunter's Mark into it because they're getting the rerolls naturally. But it's wildly expensive. I think it's 235 for that unit right now, and it could be like, it needs to be like 180. So almost like a 50-point drop somehow, some way, and so yeah. He's better than the E-Champ because he leads Hearthguard like for the role that they're trying to do. Because Hearthguard's strongest, they're stronger in shooting than they are in melee, right? And the call deep strikes and lets you shoot really well with the Hearthguard. So he has more synergy with the Hearthguard for sure. But once again, we always come back around to this stuff is way too expensive.
It's just too expensive.
Yeah. Champion benefits from Hearthguard. Hearthguard benefit from Call.
Yeah.
That's kind of like where it is.
Yeah.
And E-Champ is effectively, that just means the Hearthguard benefit or help the E-Champ. E-Champ doesn't necessarily need them. But the Call leading Hearthguard, if we don't like Hearthguard, Call's not all that great.
Yeah.
And if we're taking them for one combo, in Oathband, when there's infinitely better things to take, like again, you said 235. That's an Iron Master and 6 Beamerkin, that are wounding on 4s, critting on 4s, sustain hits 2 on 4s, lethal on 4s, like. And they're also flat 3 damage AP2.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous for the same price they were talking about.
Oh yeah. We've only said that the unit is wildly overcosted. Right?
Yeah, call, a lot of the stuff here is like super expensive. Like if you drop everything here, it's like Uthar at his points is still great. Like if you drop him 10 points and you don't currently agree he's an auto take, you will. Buri needs to go down 10 points. Iron Master needs to go down like 5. I'd still take him at attack cost. Yeah, 5 to 10 points.
Okay. So
losing +1 wound is kind of bad, but when we get to the other units, losing ignores cover hurts a whole lot more.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the biggest loss for me is the ignore cover. I still am kind of concerned about it. I think if points come down, I think this guy's better than an E-Champ. But I think if points remain as is, I think he's just too expensive to like build around to include that piece. So I think I'll give this one to Ronnie, and I'll put him kind of like at the bottom. I'd say they're like roughly tied. Maybe a little bit better if points are cheaper, he's better than the E-Champ. I don't know. I think he falls kind of like roughly around this, so we'll just put him into the fine flex, I guess. There are better things you could bring, like Ronnie said. Like if you have the points to bring the Hearthguard with a Kâhl, you might as well just bring an Iron Master and 6 more Thunderkin. Presently, anyway. Okay. Mimir, one of our newest data sheets that we got. I quite like the Mimir, but not for what the Warcom articles were suggesting we'd like them for. So, they were kind of hyping up like, oh, this guy loves Steeljacks. He's going to give him free Overwatch. He's going to give him free heroic intervention. I actually think you just take one and stick them on your home objective with Dead Reckoning and enter your second Army Rule Fortify turn 2. Like, that just seems like the best use case for this guy. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah. I think if you attach him to Steeljacks, they end up being pretty expensive. You can keep, and he doesn't bring any damage, right, to the Steeljacks. He just lets you use the strat for free, which is only 2 strats, right? It's just a flat out worse captain ability. You just take one, you slap him on your home, he gives you YP, you profit. He's cheap.
Yeah.
You don't need him to lead Steeljack.
Sorry to interrupt.
But he's good.
I just saw Sampi's comment regarding the E-Chump and the Kâhl we were debating. He's like, just send both those chumps to ECOG tier.
They do share the unfortunate fate of both wanting to lead Hearthguard, which is not a good fate to have.
Yeah. So, Roddy, how do you feel about the Mimir? I think he's an auto-include, at least one for basically every detachment, I think, just to farm yield points on your home objective. Do you see otherwise with him?
So I'd put him in strong use. I think he's really good as you're building your list and you have 45 points left over. He's a really good 45 points to spend. I think he's nice. I think he's needed in like detachments where you want to stay in hostile acquisition. But I disagree in just the play aspect of trying to get to fortify on turn 2. Because there's some layouts where you're on an objective and you can't see other objectives. And you want to spend the early game denying primary. So getting on that objective is great, but if you can't knock them off primary effectively from other objectives, you're not doing as much as you want.
That's fine.
Then you have to focus on out OCing your opponent, and 5 warriors do somewhat. They do that, depending on the army. But
Okay.
I think you want to be in hostile acquisition until turn 3. So I don't think he's necessarily needed to get to yield or fortify on turn 2.
Interesting. Okay. I could understand where you're coming from with that. I would actually put him ahead of Buri for strong use case, especially because he's 45 points, and he does give you that opportunity to manipulate your yield points. Some detachments, he's probably an auto-include. I think for the Need Guard, you definitely just take him with Dead Reckoning. But yeah. I could definitely see strong use case for some of the other detachments for sure. We'll stick him over here. Okay, boys, I'm just going to take a couple seconds to share with you all some news about our channel sponsor, Secondhand Geek. I figured I might as well take the opportunity while you're all here to do a live demonstration. So Secondhand Geek is a lovely secondhand marketplace. They're US-based, but they do provide services for clients and customers both in US and Canada. So you could come here, you could sell your minis, you could list them, you could buy minis and browse for secondhand figurines at a very reasonable price. When you sell them and list them, it is also at a very reasonable and fair price compared to some of the other larger competitors out there. The site is super easy and intuitive to use. You just hop on. You could sell your items, you could buy stuff here, and kind of just filter down to see all the different ads that people are posting. So it offers a really reliable, secure, and easy to use platform that's kind of managed by this party. So check them out. I have an affiliate link in the description below. If you can use that to access the site and make your account, it would really mean a lot. It shows the company that you found them through me and provides me a very small kickback so I can keep buying miniatures. So thanks for your time on that. We'll jump back into the tier list. All right, so let's talk next about the Warriors. So the Humble Warriors, I have some thoughts on these guys. The playstyle has changed so dramatically for how we operate because of the Sagittar, namely. These guys were kind of like your bread and butter. I don't think you very rarely saw a list take fewer than 2 squads, and they were always split up. I will say that maybe inadvertently, because the Sagittar is so bad right now, there's actually a use case to have like single 10-man units screening your backfield because the footprint is very large. So I think there's a strong use case still for them personally. Like, you will always need OC to primary deny. Maybe people will still run one Sagittar, but I also think just the ability to screen out your entire backfield is very useful. Because some of the other options that I thought we'd be able to use are either too expensive or got a little bit worse. So I'm going to say these guys should go into strong use case. I think you'll almost always see them in any list, just the use might differ, which I think is kind of interesting. Ronnie, how do you feel about the Warriors, the humble Hearthkin Warriors?
I think they're an auto include. If you're gonna put them in every list, they're gonna be an auto include.
That's fair.
I am in the issue where you have to put a Sagittar in there. I don't think you want 10 just sitting on your home. So I think it's you take 10 and a Sagittar. Sagittar is not that great, but you take it just to benefit the Warriors. Just having 5 dudes that go out there, sticky your natural expansion, and then move forward is great. And then having the 5 on your home, just screening, scoring your home, sticky your home, I think is also great. Especially since the fact that, again, you want to combat split them since you don't have to worry about, well, this squad has a 6 up field of pain, and this doesn't. They all have 5 up pinballs. They all have 6 up field of pains. When we get to the Sagittar is going to be lower on the scale, but I think Warriors themselves are an auto in every list.
Okay. I'll just take a moment to say a massive thank you to Betentacled Moss 69 to Hearthguard for donating $10 in a super chat. Thank you so much, man. It really, really does mean a lot. And he says Sagittar is a great paperweight now. Yeah, potentially. So thanks, man. I really appreciate that. So I do agree with you. I guess they are, like, if you are going to take them in every list, it'll be an auto include. I kind of theorized, like, potentially not running them in a list. Don't know how crazy that is, because, like, you are taking them usually with the Sagittar, so it's like now it's like 190, 195 points, if the points are accurate. Jordan, how do you feel about them?
Yeah, they kind of almost go hand in hand with the power of the Sagittar, right? However cheap the Sagittar is almost directly points reductions onto Warriors, right? The current Sagittar in Warriors, what, 195 for a transport and 10 of your Battleline troops, which is, I think, really expensive. For a unit that does almost no damage.
Yeah.
As well. So
yeah,
They're a good chat there. I mean, you have 12 shots at 611, and then you still have another 4 shots at 401. Or you take the ions and get 2 shots at, I think, 521.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't have grudges anymore, and it doesn't have ignores cover naturally, so it's a lot tougher. I think they have unfortunately fallen
points.
into, like,
50 points for 15 plus shots is not bad.
The issue is we never spend only 50, right? Like, if you had a list at 1950, right, you could not buy just 5 Warriors. You would have to, like, I would too. If I could buy Warriors and only their 5-man 50 unit, like, blocks, I would in a heartbeat. But we unfortunately have to spend 100, and then if we want to get these 50-point values of Warriors, we have to then also buy a Sagittar. And now it's 200 points in list building, almost. It's 195, right? Instead of 50.
I think sticky objectives are just great. If someone indirects Jaegers or a Mimir off an objective or your home objective, you don't have an objective. Sticky objectives are great. And I think you have to take Warriors. They're honestly good. They're more durable than they were, and Sagittars went down for losing Scout, but their job wasn't to ever actually kill Chaff. Their job was to auto-see your opponent for early game storm, or denying primary, or just sticking your natural in your home. I think they're still pretty good. I still think they're just really good. I know you're buying the Sagittar, but having one Sagitaur is not bad. 95 points for 2 last cannons is still pretty cheap. Especially since the Razorback is doing it for like 80, 85 points for one shot. I think it's pretty good.
So before we put that in, I'm going to say another massive thank you to Ben Tentacled, Moss69, to Hearthguard for gifting 10 memberships to the community. Thank you so much, man. It's really, really kind of you. Very generous. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, Ronnie with the big thank you. Massive thanks, man. Seriously, thank you so much for that. Very generous of you. So I guess this is the first one we're all kind of a little conflicted on, the Warriors. I do agree that they are sort of an auto-include. Like, you'll probably always see one in every list. Just the use case might be different, which is interesting. But I will say they are auto-include. Okay.
So too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they have competition now, right? With the Jaeger transport.
Yeah.
And I think this internal battle between the two is gonna shift throughout the Codex. Because like one is gonna get cheaper than the other, or the Warriors will probably always still be more expensive than the Jaeger transport combo, right? But like, there will come a day when the value of the Warriors is better than the Jaegers, right? But I think it's kind of flipped for the combat squads right now. I think the Jaeger combat squads are a little bit better, just because of that.
I will say I used to run 2x10 Warriors, 1x10 Jaegers with 2 Sagis, with my 3 land fort list. I'm currently swapping down to 1 Sagittar and 10 Warriors so I can combat split. And then I'm swapping 1 Sagittar and 10 Warriors for a Capricus and 10 Jaegers just for the screening aspect and the early game aspect. So I still have that scouting transport that can get me early game action. But I still take 1 Sagittar, 10 Warriors, so I can have 5 Warriors sticking my home and screening.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit more resilient now that they're 5 up Invul, 6 up Fiona Pains on them, as opposed to just one squad.
Yeah.
And then again, I agree with you. You're gonna see a lot more of the Jaeger Capricus. But I still think the sticky objective is way too valuable to not have in any list.
It is really strong. You probably still see Warriors, but I don't know if you always see them combat squatted. I think you're gonna see a lot of lists just not take a Sagittar and suck it up and spend only
Auto include. You've sold us on it, Ronnie.
Yeah.
You've sold us on it. Perhaps we should skip ahead then, since a lot of our conversation always goes back to this one unit. Let's take a second and talk about the Sagittar. All right?
Fine flex, that's it.
For
one purpose is Warriors. That's about it.
That is all it provides now, unfortunately. The guns are middling. It's lost all its kick. It's lost all its durability. And it's lost it's lost half of its utility, which is the scouting. Which, like, I don't know, man. I feel like one of the 3 should have stuck. Whether it was the shooting, the durability, or the scouting, I think one of the 3 should have stuck around. If not, the points should have came down a lot more than whatever they are at now. I think 95. So, I mean, yeah, I have a personal gripe with it. Like, I'm not going to run one, but you made a very sound argument before about splitting them. You still get a ton of value out of the Warriors, and a lot of units kind of go hand in hand with Sagittars. So I don't think we will never see Sagittars, but they will definitely not be a mainstay in many lists. So I think I'm fine putting it in fine flex. Jordan, you okay with fine flex? Echoing off Ronnie.
You're not gonna see 4 to 6 anymore. You're gonna see 1.
Yeah, 1 is the most.
A lot of lists.
Yeah,
I think 1 is the most you ever see.
Like, as a sheet, it sucks, right? If it wasn't for Warriors, you would never take this. But because you have Warriors,
you kind of want to.
It has a use.
So yeah, it'd be fair towards the bottom of fine flex. It's one job.
Yeah.
It's Warriors, and it has some benefits with cheap last cannons.
Yeah, Sachi would be great if it was cheaper, but GW sold enough already and needs you to buy Capri Suns. Yes, Tiny Goose, that is true.
I think the price point is it needs to be around the cost of a rhino, right? A rhino is just straight up better in every aspect. It carries real units instead of warriors, and it has smoke. It has an extra wound.
They
It's just
need to up the Sagittar carrying capacity at least.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's worse than a rhino in every. It's worse than a razorback in every aspect.
That's so sad, man.
Besides the fact that it has one extra las cannon.
So
I
sad.
really think the correct cost of a Sagittar is like 70 or below right now, and it's what 95.
I think 80. I think 85 would be fine for a Sagittar.
It's worse than a rhino in every way, and a rhino
Right,
is like 75.
but I've had Sagittars in Index without sustained E3 mess up a rhino, or mess up a transport, or mess up a demon prince. A rhino's not doing that.
Yeah,
Two
but
las cannon shots are still two las cannons.
yeah, but it's not gonna be like you hit on fours, maybe threes, and then you don't get the judgment tokens for the +1 to wound. It's just the math is not very good. Like I think it's like a 90% chance to just do nothing with las cannons every time you shoot. It's pretty low. So
The losing
it's
Goose,
+1 to wound
they
hurts.
still carry 10 and wait. What if a Sag could still carry
That's
10
an
warriors and still
interesting idea, Goose. That's an interesting idea. So you put something in, it gets the split
You take-
keyword, and then you still run the whole squad in it. That'd be interesting.
I could see that happening. Actually, no, I don't. I don't see that.
They would
actually
never
happening,
do
unless
it,
you're
but
like,
it's interesting.
it should just be what's the cost of a Taurox? Like 70 points right now? It should just be the cost of a Taurox. Like the Taurox is better because it carries it has a detachment that lets it throw it through walls, right? And go 19 inches. And it carries like units that like throw out mortal bombs, right?
right.
A Sagittar never does that. It just throws out OC. And it doesn't move through walls, even in the vehicle detachment that lets the Hecaton move through walls. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that gripe in a minute. I feel like all the transports should have access to go through walls with that strat.
Yeah.
But
it
um,
I think it's worse than fine, right?
Clearly, they costed the Sagittar for carrying 6 Earth Shakers. Yeah.
yeah,
Rules as written.
It
You
could.
could.
It
just
could
go
be
ahead
fine.
and pop in 6 of those dudes.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll leave it in fine flex. Like, you probably won't see more than 1 in a list, and you're definitely never going to see 6. I don't think so at the current cost.
To answer your question, Drac, I don't think you put missiles on it.
Yeah, I still think
It
the main
went
gun is
down
the
2
best.
toughness. It went down to 2 toughness. It went down 2 strength. And now that the high las is more consistent, if I roll a 2, I equal or deal more damage. I have an 83 point something percent chance of equaling or dealing more damage. Strength, we don't have +1 wound anymore. So at least the high las deals damage on a 3+, it wounds on a 3+, without the +1 wound. Whereas a Sagittar missile launcher, it's wounding on 4s or 5s, depending on the vehicle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
Did it lose 2 strength? Right?
yeah,
The missile launcher, yeah.
Sagittar missile launchers 2 shots at 4 or hitting on 4s at 10-3-3.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah. Before we move on to the Thunderkin, I'll just answer QSF. So is it dumb to run Kâhl with 10 warriors and deep strike them? The idea is not dumb. In fact, I believe Greg actually took something similar to WTC. In theory, right, you would have like 5 coming down with a Kâhl, and you use that as like a primary denial piece. Like, honestly, maybe you gained a little bit more value now that Sagittars don't scout. I personally didn't like it too much because you could still play that primary denial game with the Sagittar scouting up. And it's still an expensive piece to have the Kâhl attached to it. You're paying extra for him. But hey, man, it's a new book. Try it out. See if it works. You still get all those
Chris,
benefits.
I've talked to several judges from different organizations. The whole disembarking 6 inches at the end of any phase, being able to charge, it's currently being used as essentially a pseudo assault ramp. So you can advance a Sagittar, and from the rules of it, you can disembark. However, you just do it at the end of the shooting phase, and then just charge.
Yeah.
I think it's very good currently, but I wouldn't rely on it as a playstyle because it's definitely going to get FAQ'd. Granted, there is you need to be in hostile acquisition to use it, so you can only use it for the first turn or two. Potentially turn 3 if you're running several, and I mean several Mimnirs, and you're not scoring primary. But it's an interesting stratagem. I would not rely on it existing for too long.
Yep.
But it is good.
I'm excited to hear Ronnie's take on these niche Thunderkin.
Not even niche. It's just good. It is so good. Hernkyn Detachment, niche. Thunderkin, great.
What's this new unit? What's this new unit we got? They look pretty sick. Look at them. They got like these grav guns on. Ronnie, what are these? Did you ever hear about these guys before?
Couldn't play with me. Matt, you know I love these units.
I think Jordan's the one who ran
too.
6. Yeah,
I have always been a Thunderkin player.
I have screenshots of you saying otherwise.
Okay. Actually, let's put them a bit behind. Let's just talk about the Berserks real quick because the Berserks also go hand in hand with the Sagittar in a lot of cases, and then we'll do the Thunderkin, everybody's favorite unit, because we all know where I could put the Thunderkin in right now, and we'll still talk about it. But yeah, so the Berserks. Okay, so the Berserks got. Some people think it's an upgrade, some people think it's a downgrade, some people think it's a side grade. I think they lost a significant amount of durability despite being toughness 6 now. 1 wound, losing to 3 wound base. How many times did the 3 wound base end up soaking like 3 shots off of a gun, right? And keeping the whole squad alive, or keeping 4 other guys alive. The fight on death on a 3-up is cute. It's more consistent for sure. I do like that hammers aren't the only answer to everything anymore. I think they did a very good job balancing the 2 data sheets. So if you want elite, anti-elite, you go for the axes. If you want anti-vehicle or anti-monster now, I think it has anti-monster as well, right? On the mauls, which is pretty nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think they did a phenomenal job on the weapon design. I think they should not have costed 100 points for dropping that hard in durability, personally. Jordan, what are your thoughts on these humble naked men who stole a toughness from our Hearthguard?
Yeah. Quick math on the loss of durability is like a 2 damage wound into a Berserk before was 66% of the time you were going to survive that 2 damage. Like you were going to make a 5 of feel no pain and you were going to fail 1, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's 25% chance to survive a 2 damage attack. And with 0 cost reductions, this is awful. Like an Overwatch now could significantly just kill 3 models.
How about they can't Overwatch? They can't. They can't Overwatch. Yeah, bloods are existing.
If you don't tell your opponents about the mole launcher rule, what are they
gonna do? They're gonna try and Overwatch me outside of 24. That's not legal. And I'm gonna hit them first. But the mole launcher.
Yeah, that seems like a weird rule, man. That seems like a weird rule, and it did go down to 18 inches.
Yeah, it's only an 18-inch grenade launcher. I personally think Berserks are wildly too expensive for their current data sheet, right? They're not costed for their such significant drop in durability. And losing the hammer, right, used to kind of just generally be good into everything. And it is no longer good into everything, right? Like elite infantry are now something it is not a great answer for, right? Because it wounds them on 5s, and we don't have +1 to wound. If you play the Berserk detachment, you get what, 4 rerolls to wound with the unit, which is really good.
You get more value out of them for sure.
Yep, they're definitely way more valuable in the Berserk detachment than in any other detachment, which is obviously, by design, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they're fine, but I don't think you'll see them in very many lists because I think they're way too expensive right now.
So, Ronnie, how do you feel about them?
I think they're great. They are a strong use case for me, if not auto include.
Really?
Um, they are so their role changes a little bit. They're no longer an aggressive push piece, as opposed to they're more of a responsive piece. Um, they're when you hit turn 3, they become just as scary as a fight's first unit. Because they are fighting on death on a 3+.
Hmm.
Um, I think you take probably 2x3 hammer or 2x5 hammers, 1x5 axes. So you have that flex up into a Terminator squad. That 723 is still valuable. Um, they charge your warriors or your Jaegers on an objective. You go, cool. I'm gonna heroic with this every save or every failed save you die unit. And they think twice about it. They did it when I was fighting on death on a 4+. They're gonna definitely do it even harder now that I say I fight on death on a 3+.
Yeah.
Um, the anti 3+, against like dreadnoughts or Tyranids that want to end up getting closer to you,
Yeah.
especially in the transport attachment with that 6-inch disembark. Disembarking 6 inches, moving you, charging you, I think is great. Also, the fact that they turn off Overwatch until your next shooting phase, I think is very valuable.
It is.
Like I said, I think the role changes to from a aggressive push piece to like pressure piece to a responsive piece.
Yeah.
For primary, they fight on primary very well. They are similar to Custodian Guard in the sense of like their job is to fight on objectives. Outside of objectives, they're not that great, but on an objective, they will delete whatever they want.
Yeah. So I'll just, I guess I'll top off the conversation. I think, like you said, Ronnie, I find the weapons got better. They did a good job balancing them. But I also think the durability is a significant consideration to keep in mind, and even more so that they used to anyway, go hand in hand with Sagittars, which lost scouts, which means it takes you an extra turn to stage. Now, like you said, tempo-wise, like you should only look to use these turn 3 instead of earlier in the game. So I do see a use case for them. And I actually do think you're still going to see them in lists. I'm very confident on that. Do I think they're auto-include? I do not think they're auto-include. I think you could build a good argument for them. I don't think they're horribly bad. I think that they're like top of fine / flex. You could include them. I think if you use them well, like you said, and you build an argument as to why you're running them in your list and how you plan on using them, you'll get good mileage out of it. But I don't think it's auto-include. So I'm going to say top of fine, bottom of strong use, but like more in the top of fine. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, that's cool. I
I'm
think
very big on strong use personally. Personally,
Okay.
it's just based off my like experiences. I've played them since we got all the rules and the points. I've used them and they've been very effective. Warp spiders actually do not kill them as well as they did before, because now we have 5-up saves, and if I pop an Armor of Contempt for free with Uthar,
Hmm.
it's their 4-up saves, or their 5-up saves at that point with 4-up field bands, and a lot of damage 1, they have to actually put damage 2 into them to be reliable. Um, if you leave 2 of them alive, it's still plenty of damage 3. And if I
Yeah.
keep that, I can turn off your Overwatch, and that's very effective if you want to be cheeky and Overwatch me with volume. Um, just because it's not high damage doesn't mean it's not a good Overwatch. But turning off Overwatch for them, meaning that they can move freely, charge freely without the worry of you shooting me on my turn. I think I think they're a strong use case if
Hmm.
you guys are thinking about fine flex.
I could see where you're coming from with it. I think personally for me it's the points. Like they're very expensive. I think if they come down 10 points, 15 points, like 15 points you definitely have a strong use case for them.
I can see that argument. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think
They
they're
definitely need
still
to go down in
expensive.
points, but
Yeah.
their
yeah.
role definitely changes currently.
We do have T Murda himself, the Schneider. The second Schneider is here and he is in chat talking about the Berserks. How do you feel about the new Berserks? We'll see what Tim says. when chat
30
catches up
attacks,
to him.
15 hits.
Big hello to Aaron and Chaos for joining us as well. Uthar auto include? Absolutely. So he provides a very significant buff to the army, giving you -1 CP once per round. So you essentially get 5 free CP a game, which is really, really nice.
He's pretty much replacing the old Oathband rule.
Yeah.
For the free CP. Instead of getting 3 CP, you get 5 free.
That's a good way of looking
tracks
at it, actually. I didn't think about that, but you're right.
It's just flat out better than what it.
You guys are so used to getting you guys. That's if I don't play the faction. We all are so used to getting the 3 CP, 2 CP on a go turn, to spend a bunch of strats. But now it's tempoed out, and you get Uthar, who is still a 3-up, 4-up T5, and there's spend a yield point.
Yeah.
I get a save.
Yeah.
It's still pretty good, and he could just free strat himself for Armor of Contempt. I think Uthar is definitely an auto include. He's replacing what you were used to with one character.
Yeah.
You gotta play him very safe, but.
Tim, why are you awake? It's so late in Germany. Tim wants to join the call. Tim, how about this? We get the end of the tier list. You come in, you let me know all your thoughts about the Berserks, and I'll move them to any level you want. Any level at all. You tell me they're ECOG tier, they drop. You tell me they're auto include.
Tim is the Berserk king, right?
Tim is the Berserk king. Ronnie is the Thunderkin.
He ran more than I ran more, or he ran more Berserks. I ran more Thunderkin. I'll let him have that.
All right, so speaking of specialists on units, next we have the Thunderkin, which is Jordan's staple unit. No, I'm joking. It's Ronnie's staple unit that he's taken all of the decks.
The king of Thunderkin. This does not make sense. The charade is up. The charade is on.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I'm just gonna pop them in. They are auto include, where you take them in 3s, you take them in 6s. That's up for debate, but they are auto include, and they are by far the best unit in the book right now for damage dealing, as well as providing a very good buff for the army, which is ignoring cover. I don't think many things, to be honest, survive them shooting at them unless they're extremely durable to even get the benefit of ignore cover, which maybe I'll talk about when we get to the bikes, because I personally feel the role would have suited them a lot better. But I think that they are an auto include. I'm sure all of you guys agree as well. But Ronnie, why don't you kick things off with the Thunderkin and let us know why you're so excited about them.
Auto include, easy. Half our units lost ignores cover, and now you have one unit that just does it. They strip cover for everyone else. The beams just got infinitely better. They went up in damage. They went up in AP. They now have lethals on crit 4s, so now you're not even worried about wounding. You have a 50% chance of auto wounding and need guard Oathband. You give them the plus on a wound, so now they're 50% chance to auto wound, 50% chance to wound. Even better because now they're also rerolling 1s. You pop them with the sustain hits 2 strat and either need guard or brand fast. So you just go sustain hits 2, crit 4 lethals, and then God forbid you just go strip cover with the other 3-man unit. Now it's flat 3 damage, critting on 4s with sustains, lethals. They almost double their shot value. Flat 3 damage is also very valuable. And then you also have the Grabkin that are anti-monster, anti-vehicle 3+. Amelia Pollard is one of the top Tyranid players in the US. And she's, I think, top 10 globally. I play against her a lot. And she was like, Thunderkin, I'm not afraid of at all. They're literally just dudes that sit there and die. She's like, I hate Buri and I hate Thunderkin and Berserks because they wound me on 3s.
Yep. Yeah,
that's
became a huge
infinitely scary. Thunderkin getting the anti 3+ on 2 very good units for flat 3 damage.
Yeah.
Made our pairings a whole lot better into a wider variety of things. I do think that we're going to struggle into Horde more now that we don't have the D6 Blast or the from the Thunderkin or the Hearthguard. But I think we do a whole lot better into Terminators and Monsters and Vehicles than we did prior. Plus on a wound was great, but anti 3+ is so much better.
Yeah, it's a huge
I love Thunderkin. You take 6 Thunderkin, whether it's Grabkin or Beamkin, depending on the detachment. And I say you take 1x3, maybe 2x3. Easily arguable 2x3 and other, just in general.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Good night,
Best
Chaos.
unit in
Thanks
the
for
book.
tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Jordan, follow up on that. Tell us why you
Well, I
always
mean,
loved
yeah.
Thunderkin.
How I've always loved the best unit in the book.
I hate you so much.
Yeah, you can. So it's such a interestingly designed unit, right? Because it's one of, if not our best damage dealing unit, right? But it
Mm-hmm.
also sets up the damage for the rest of the Votann list, right? It's very interesting. I don't think they've done this with like anything else in the game, right? Like nobody's like, I'm gonna take my Chosen and Chaos Lord to set up damage for my Forge Fiend. That just doesn't happen, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so interesting how they've done it. But both grav guns and beamers are excellent. 6 mans or 3 mans. You can do whatever you want with this unit almost, other than bolt cannons. For like, do not take 6 man bolt cannons, please.
Hey, there's a certain someone that we all know. Like, we may not all be in the same Discord, but his name is Bibbo. Everyone knows who the hell that guy is. He's like, I'm gonna still run Earthband, and I'm gonna run 2x3 bolt cannons because why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if your job is just to strip cover and sustain hits 2 can pop off just innately, more power to you. But at the same time, you take flat 3 or flat
Oh
3.
my god, you take flat
Yeah.
3, man. Like, as soon as you have access to flat 3, forget all the other guns. Just forget everything else. It's so good. Oh my god. I think the bolt cannons need to go to like 5 or 6 shots for me to even consider, like each, for me to even consider taking that over the damage 3 ones. It's crazy.
I think I want to quickly mention that the ignores cover ability almost kind of wants you to split fire with this unit, right? If you like, you probably want an Iron Master in the unit to do the split firing purposes, right? But if you
Yeah.
don't,
I don't care what the poll says. That means we're putting Iron Master to the front. The person who put Iron Master almost fine flex just said you need to take an Iron Master.
I agree. It's all coming together now. Sorry, chat. 63% wanted Buri, but I think we just got sold on it here.
but what I was saying was like, but even if you just take a 6 man, right? And you're playing Oathband, and you toss the 6 man beamer unit out, and you just slam sustained hits 2 and reroll hits of 1 and wounds of 1 onto the unit, and you split fire. Like the damage, like if I was to shoot all of that into a Dorn, the Dorn would be shaking in its boots, right? I could probably just kill the Dorn just with the 6 man, or I could split fire, do 3 here, 3 here, get them both low, and then finish them off with Capri Suns and Hecatons following up. It opens up a lot of really interesting, like really technical, like takes a lot of skill to see
Mm-hmm.
and like identify when you want to split fire and when you want to just shoot all of them into one target. It's a really well thought out unit. Um, just great, great,
Killing dude,
great and awesome.
I agree with what you're saying with the whole bolt cannon giving you that 36-inch range. Personally, I think you take the 3 mans and walk them on. Their job is to strip cover.
Yeah.
So if you walk them on, and you also don't need necessarily 36-inch range because what else in our army has 36-inch range besides other bolt cannons?
Yeah.
Walking them on from a table edge. Again, we have infiltrators, and now that we have the Capricus or the Capri Suns, I'm gonna get used to that. I will never get used to that.
The Capri Suns.
Now that we have the Capri Suns, splitting Jaegers, you can take 20 Jaegers, meaning that you can either use 5 in the Capri Sun, 5 screening in your home, or you can take that other 5 man and infiltrate, so you have 15 infiltrators, securing on your walk-on positions, which is what I did in Index. Is I was Scout 9 with bikes, secure one side, infiltrate with 10 Jaegers on the other, and I could walk on wherever I wanted to. But now that we have a 45-point unit that can infiltrate on the other side, it makes it where my bikes don't have to play as aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But no, being able to infiltrate 9 inches from your opponent's deployment zone, it's not very likely that they're going to be able to push beyond that. So I think walking on 2x3 Thunderkin just to strip cover, and then again anti-vehicle 3+, 9 shots of 3 damage apiece. That's potential 27 damage,
Yeah.
depending on what whether you're in hostile or fortify, it's 66% chance to hit, 66% chance to wound. Popping 9 damage on something is not anything to scoff at.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance that you strip cover here and kill something and put a hurting on something else. But back to the 6-man with the Iron Master is you just take the Iron Master and a bolter, strip cover here, and the 6 Thunderkin just lay into something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess for Tiny Goose, who's still on the 36-inch for the bolt gun, I think the best way to look at it is that this unit does both. Like, it's a support piece, but the damage is significant. Like, this thing will rip into whatever it shoots, even if you split fire. So it's just like not like the whole army plays midfield. It's just not worth pursuing something that's further away at the reduction of that damage. Like, the damage 3 is so powerful. And yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say it's such a smartly designed unit. Like 3-mans probably want to take grav guns, but 6-mans can take either the grav guns or the beamers, and it depends on your detachment, depends on your leader, right? Like, are you taking an Iron Master or not? It's just so smart. Like, everything about this unit really lends into like list building and kind of taking to what you need.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I really like it. And for anybody who's doubting that it's an auto-include, I'm just going to share this story. If Sam P's here, he knows. I literally went with him in person to a store to pick up the last 2 Thunderkin boxes in stock last week, brought them to the counter. The guy scanned it and said, somebody just bought it online. Sorry, I can't sell it to you. And they're sold out everywhere now. So these guys are auto-include, and good luck finding any in stock. So next up, we'll go to the Earth Shaker. I have a lot of thoughts about the Earthshaker. Like, it's unfortunate that this is where it belongs. I don't think you guys are going to argue with me on this one. But I had high hopes. I really had high hopes for the Earthshaker because I felt like it would play a similar role to the bikes in my list in terms of, like, 3-mans. I only really liked playing with 3s, and I would use them to screen, and I would use them to turn 1 and 2, trade chaff, and deny primary because they were fast. Pick up those utility pieces, the scoring pieces that enemy lists had, like scouts or something, right? So for me, it was perfect. Like, you take 3 of these, you stick them in your backfield, you make a big line, nobody's deep striking there, and then the firepower of all 3 together, on paper, would pick up those cheap trading pieces without you having to expose something. I'm not paying 330 points to do that, is the big problem. So they are wildly, wildly overcosted for what they are. How do you guys
They're
feel
what,
about
115 for a 2-man?
Yeah, it's like 110, 115 or something. It's nuts.
Yeah, 110.
I think they're meta dependent. The moment that elves and GSC and just sisters become the meta, I think they're going to thrive. But with Death Guard, everything T5 and above being the meta, they're not that great.
Yeah.
2, 3 wounds a piece, like, they are not that great. Out of phase battle shock is cool when you're worried about defensive stratagems. But again, the current meta is not about defensive stratagems. And they also, I don't think they affect vehicles and monsters, which is currently our issue, which is knights, rotating ions, and vehicles, armor contending.
Yeah.
Outside of that, if you +2 toughness, I don't really care. I was strength 6 anyway.
Yeah.
You were T7. If you -1 damage, cool. I was volume damage 1 anyway, or damage 3, damage 4.
Yeah.
Granted, we did have a lot of damage too, but I could supplement with damage 3, damage 4.
Yeah.
I think they definitely belong at ECOG. They are meta dependent.
Yeah.
And right now they are nowhere near worth it in the meta.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just interrupt to say Ben Tentacled yet again with a $10 gift super chat. Thank you so much. 2 Hearthguard loves Votann versus 40k. Thank you, man. We love you as well. Very generous of you again. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Go on, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Ronnie said.
Yeah.
Could be good at the right price and in the right meta. Currently are not. And so to ECOG they go.
To ECOG they go. Yeah, like even at 95.
To currently consider them, I would put them at 95.
Yeah.
To consider them.
Yeah.
Like if I was running the prosecution detachment that values the crap out of these, I don't take them at 110.
Yep.
or 115. I don't.
Yeah.
I'd probably take one, maybe two at that. But at 95 in the prosecution detachment, I took 3 units personally.
Yep.
Just having that much indirect for pretty cheap was not bad, just to make their entire army move 2 inches slower. Terminators moving 3 inches is pretty nasty, but 4 inch movement. If you want to put them in Sagittar, cool. If the Sagittar scouted, it'd be even better, but they don't.
Oh my god,
So yeah,
I'm an idiot.
they're meh.
Ben Tentacled Maw 69 2 Hearthguard is not 2 Hearthguard. It's secondhand geek. Wow. It's all coming together. I was like, why would he love 2 Hearthguard? It's all
I'm still
coming
mad that
together.
Earthguard from Index and into Codex are still 2 wounds apiece, and I don't know how you made that unit worse, but you freaking did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're going right into it. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm so mad. I
That's-
took Hearthguard before. I will never take Hearthguard.
I'm so torn. If they were a little bit cheaper, like, I really do see a use for them. If they were just a bit cheaper for turn 2, honestly, to throw them out there.
120. 120, I would consider them.
Just a
135.
bit cheaper, man. Yeah, it's like almost there. We just don't have the luxury of, like I said, the points are all like just 10 points too much on everything. That it's like, that's a unit that you lost, basically. I just don't have the luxury. And yes, I think I'll just top off here before we move on to the next Hearthguard here. The Mole Grenade Launcher at 95, I had 3 in my list. Even then, I was like, 95 is a little bit pricier than I would have liked, maybe 5 points, but I think it has a use, especially in Prospector Detachment, which I was the most excited for at the start. But it's DOA for me until the points come down.
Yeah.
Hearthguard, yeah. So, oh my god, look how they massacred my boy. To me, the toughness 5 is a slap in the face. I take that personally, the toughness 5 on these guys. You're gonna tell me these naked men are toughness 6 and the Hearthguard are toughness 5, the same like warriors? Insanity.
I don't understand that.
It's insanity.
Like, I understand Crackhead Energy being T6, but like they're in quote unquote one of the toughest armor that we have.
Yeah.
With like I don't understand how they went down to T5 and Berserks went up to T6.
Yeah.
I understand Berserks going up to
nuts.
movement 6 because again they don't have any armor, but going up a toughness does not make sense to me.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. It's absolutely. Sam says, wonder if Secondhand Geek has any Thunderkin. Well, because Ben Tentacled himself is here and he has been an extremely generous soul for us tonight, let's take a look. So, boys, I would say if you are interested in buying some secondhand miniatures, maybe getting a little bit of a discount here from some of these other people selling them on the marketplace, take a look at Secondhand Geek. You just scroll on over here. It's very easy to use. Miniatures, Warhammer 40k. You drive all the way on down. You find Leagues of Votann. And you see what people are offering. Maybe you get to pick one up before somebody else does. So presently they got the Sagittar. Unfortunately, no Thunderkin. But if you do see one, you pick that up right away. And again, my affiliate link is down in the description below. And if I can find it, I will post it in chat as well.
Yeah, I currently have 18 Thunderkin because I've always been a quote-unquote hater of them, But no, I have 18 Thunderkin all ready to go.
Yeah.
I also have 18 Thunderkin.
Also, because it's
Wait,
funny
when
to
did you get 18
theorize.
Thunderkin, Jordan? What?
I've literally always had them. I'm not even joking.
Having 18 Thunderkin just to theorize and be funny and be like, all right, night meta. I'm going to take 18 Grafkin.
Yeah. I have
Right.
12. I have to go pick up my last 3 tomorrow that are on hold for me at the store. But with that, I will have 12 Thunderkin ready to go. And
I'm
all
a big
12
fan
will
of
be on my
Thunderkin.
list.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
They're so good. Anyway, we're so
Yeah,
sad
I
on
was
Hearthguard. We're
ready
talking
to
about
throw hands.
Thunderkin.
Yeah, because with that sad on Earthguard.
Yeah, we're not sad on Hearthguard now. We're talking about the best. We'll just put them at polar opposites, I guess. If they come down in points, I see them being a flex use. But until they do, I really do not see people taking them. It's just too expensive for what you get. Even like your really good
Way
combo with
too
the
pricey.
Kâhl, it's great. It's really strong. It's just too expensive.
But it's one detachment with one enhancement. Without either of those,
Yeah.
like you need both of those to actually be effective. If you don't have either of those or one of them,
Yeah.
it becomes an infinitely worse unit.
Yeah.
I understand the rapid fire 1 is pretty good, so you can increase the number of plasma, but they took Hearthband
Yeah.
and tried to stuff it into one data sheet, and it's not great.
Yeah, it's still restrictive, right? Like, why is it the closest? These guys aren't that scary in shooting, right? Like, you gotta stack things to get them there and pay points, so just let them have their damage.
So what do you think about Hearthguard? Thunderkin are great, but what about Hearthguard? I love Thunderkin.
I have
We're
18 of
stuck
them.
there.
I sold all my Hearthguard on
Yeah.
Secondhand Geek, but I have 18 Thunderkin.
Yeah, they took the Hearthguard rule of rerolling ones, they put it into the data sheet, they minus the toughness, they removed the volume that they used to have. Like, I would take 5 for 15 shots with devs and then 5d6 blast, just as a nice deep strike, rapid ingress, chaff clearing piece
Yeah.
that could take a hit. But now, it's not that anymore. It's just
It's just
it
not
went
that.
downhill. Went downhill
Yeah.
fast.
It lost a lot of its use.
Yeah. Dabiticus, Keanu Reeves himself is here in chat. Steeljacks with swords are amazing. We're going to get to them in just a moment, so you joined right on time. And
So excited to hit other polar opposites on another data sheet.
yeah. So let's talk about the Jaegers. So, like, they're arguably auto-include still, just like to, you know, reduce pressure from, like, jail lists, things like that, get board space. So I think, like, pretty confidently we could still put them in the auto-include. But the use has changed significantly with the addition of the Capri Sun, which I forget which one we call the Capri Sun, if it's the carrier or the defender. Maybe, Jordan, you could remind me. But the carrier version of this opens up a really interesting dimension for using these guys on the table, which I guess we could talk about now while we're looking at them. So for myself personally, I see the best use case is you just use the 5 that's split off. You put them in the middle ruin on most maps, and you scout up to it because you've secured your scouting position, and then you just put 5 guys on the center objective. You measure it out so you're 4 inches away, essentially. You just roll a 1 and you get within 3 and they all re-embark. And somebody has to come out and deal with them. If they don't, you score primary. And if they do, you do it again. So I think it actually is very interesting and powerful. Yeah, the Capri Carriers, I think it's a little bit overcosted at 75. Like, I was surprised to see it more expensive than the Defender. I thought it would be 65. But you know, I still think there's a very strong use case for that as well. So maybe we could do the two of them together right now. I think it's this one. I don't even remember off the images. I think it's here.
The carrier is the one that's without the gun on top.
Oh my god, they
the
both
one
have
that's
a gun.
the one that's next to the Steeljacks is the defender.
Okay, we'll grab
I believe.
this. I think
could
there's
be
a strong
completely
use
wrong.
case. You guys know what we mean. So I think strong use case for the Capri, and I think auto-include for the Jaegers. Ronnie, what do you think? How do you feel about them?
Jaegers are obviously an auto-include. We're all in agreements on that. Like, the 10-man infiltrator is just way too strong to not have.
Yeah.
The Capri Sun, the carrier by itself, like with the Jaegers, the Capri Sun is strong case use. You take it in most lists. I wouldn't say all, depending on flavor. But if you're running more than 10 Jaegers, you're running at least one Capri Sun. Personally, I'm running 2x10 Jaegers. Like I said, I'm swapping out a Sagittar Warrior brick for a Capricus Jaeger brick, because depending on layout and matchup, 5 Jaegers may either sit on, like, in my deployment zone on the other half, screening, and then just use their 6-inch movement, turn 4, turn 5 to score me points and be late game primary. Or if it's like a melee heavy or I need a move block, having another 5 men of infiltrators just advance turn 1 and just move block. You can't get towards me, especially if I go turn 1. If I have 2 units, re-rolling advances, by the way, with the hostile acquisition, going from 6 to 9, 10 movement, I'm at your deployment line. A lot of your secondaries, if not most of them, require you to be out of your deployment zone to score. So if I can keep you at 0 secondary, 0 primary, or 5 primary on turn 2, or on turn 1 to going into turn 2, I think that's pretty great.
It's very
and then depending on your positioning, especially also reactive moves, they changed the wording on it, so it's once per turn. So if I move and you react a move and you end that reactive move within 9 because it's a normal move, I get to D6 reactive move off of your reactive move. That's a new change.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it was once per battle round when your opponent makes a normal move. Now it's once per turn. When an enemy ends a normal move, D6 reactive.
Yeah.
So I can move, you reactive, and now I reactive based off of that.
Wow. Okay. Pretty good. I didn't even see that. That's really good.
I shoot you, and you're playing Eldar, so you do your battle focus token. You make a normal move. I get to reactive move off of that. That's so much better than people are realizing. It's the wording changed.
Yeah, it's
so
very significant.
Reactive moving off of a reactive move, big brain plays can happen there.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna react. If you do, I can move another D6, so I can be 5 inches in your deployment zone if you move.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to.
The options available.
So Jaegers are much better, and then also pairing with the Capri Sun, if you have the 5 Jaegers inside of it, it shoots a whole lot better. It's 6 shots at 501 with another rocket launcher, with another 522 shot, with the 6 shots at 712, 3 of them being twin linked.
Yeah.
It becomes a gun platform in itself. But with what you said is sitting in that middle ruin, being able to disembark, sit there, score your points, you move, I react to move back into the transport, I think is probably one of our best uses for it. But it's also no slouch in itself in shooting, especially when you pop sustained hits too. For me, I will always do shotguns. I'm always advancing, so being able to advance them and move block and still take pop shots at something. There's been too many times where I've drive up some bikes to go kill something, at least something on 1 or 2 wounds, and then here comes Jaegers from the top rope shooting 16-501 at it at 18-inch range after advanced to pick it up.
Yeah, I used to think plasmas, but now I definitely see a use case for shotguns. Yeah. I think shotguns are honestly probably better now because they have that longevity in their lifespan. Versus before it was like, I sacrifice you turn 1 to get 3 yield points if you're too aggressive with your infiltrator. But now you just use this piece for a couple of turns ideally. So the guns are way more valuable. Jordan, you wanna add on to what Ronnie said?
No, I agree with everything. Yeah, like everything Ronnie said was that's what they do, man.
Jaegers are really good.
Yeah, they're
really good.
God, I hope I don't have to buy a second set.
I feel like I've just blown everyone in this chat's mind besides maybe 3 other people. It's just they react to move on both turns.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
And just quick math on the move of Jaegers. If you pull, there's 5 secondaries that require you to do something in the midboard, which means it's 52% chance you draw one of these turn 1. This used to cost us a unit, basically, to do one of these secondaries. It no longer always costs us a unit, right? You can just have the carrier move up to the ruin, disembark the Jaegers. Now, if the opponent moves within 9, you just get to re-embark. And now it's basically you've done that action for free, or that secondary for free. So, and before it used to cost us something. It used to cost us warriors, right? And now we get to be a little tricksy, and we get to use resources longer than we used to. So just really strong.
So Jeremy, you re-embark because an embark move is ending a normal move within 3 of a transport. That's how you do it. You go 4 inches away when you do your disembark. You go 3 inches out, move an inch, whatever. As long as you roll 1 inch on that on that reactive move, you hop back in that transport because you're ending a normal move. I think it's most, if not all, reactive moves say make a normal move of whatever it is. So the wording on embarking into transport is ending a normal move. And then also, like we said prior, I don't know if you were here, Pavel, is that combo is great, but if you don't run Kâhl and or you don't run that enhancement, that combos doesn't really do much. Again, 270 points plus the character plus the enhancement, you're running 400 points. That's super expensive, especially when you can run for 80 points more 2 land fortresses.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Especially also with that combo. Or 18 Steeljacks. Jeez.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's super strong. And now that we have access to that, like we had Sagittars, but you weren't running Jaegers and Sagittars.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't run them to start with. It would be I disembarked this unit, you brought this unit below half or at half, and now I react to move into it. But now we can combat split and actually hop in and out and do the shenanigans that no one really or that everyone else could do.
Yeah.
So now we really have access to all the army roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible. And also, quickly, the Jaeger sniper got a slight glow up, y'all.
Wait, really?
It naturally ignores cover now. Hilarious.
Oh, what?
Because it was heavy precision before. Is
Oh
it
my
really?
god.
Oh, we're scrolling through the data sheets. Like,
So you could like the damage of a carrier and like a firing deck 5 with a sniper and the missile launcher in it is higher than people would expect. It is.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's cute.
Yeah, that's kind of
You'll
interesting.
get some value out of the Jaeger. Yeah, you'll
and
get some
I
value.
agree with you. But when we get to Steeljacks, which I feel like we're about to,
Yeah.
I have to use the bathroom. So like initial thoughts is you take a 6-mana shooty, you take 3 mans of melee, because the melee is a good skirmish resiliency piece. The 6-man is just really good.
Mhm.
I don't think the 36 attacks at 611 or 621 is all that necessary. Because what it's going to kill is chaff. So a 3-man with 18 attacks is going to do just as well, especially when they're hitting on 2s.
I'll let you go to the bathroom, but I'll top off on that
But
because
yeah.
it's actually an interesting combo you could do that skews the math completely. Okay, boys, so we'll let Ronnie go to the bathroom real quick, and let's catch up on chat. 1 second here. All right, I'll just close Ronnie's cam until he gets back. All right. If you get within 3 inch, you can embark. Yeah, absolutely. I think shooty Steeljacks are better on GW, melee, and WTC. Yeah, I think so as well. I think we'll talk about when we get to the 6-man for the shooters. I think the shooters are going to disappoint people when they see their output if they use them for the role of Thunderkin. But I think if they use them reactively, there's a very strong use case for them, which we'll talk about, of course. I feel like overall, like just like Jordan, like thinking about like what we're discussing, and I guess just about like how a lot of these new tools work for strong use cases, the army's in a much better place to play, I think.
It plays Warhammer
exactly.
way
It plays
better
the game
than
much better
than the Index did.
I'm so excited to get it on the table. Oh my god, I'm jealous. It seems like everybody from EU in chat has access to their stuff this week. I have to wait till next week. A real kin would have rocked his stones right in his pants. Sam P is on fire tonight. On fire. You can barely see the silhouette of the smoke launchers on them. Oh, I guess the smoke launchers will cause it. I think the worst part is we cannot fight every army anymore. We can kill Horde really good. Yeah, I think this does change things. I think it definitely does. For teams especially, right? Like when you're looking at this, it used to be Votann down first every single time, for us anyway, because you just play into anything. But you've lost that killy power in terms of like, I see you, you die to any army in the game. And it has become a little bit more tactical, I think. It's good that you're still here, Tim, because we're about to wrap up. I don't suspect these last 3 sheets here taking much time, so we'll get to finally hear your verdict on the Berserks. I'm very curious.
I know, yeah, I'm so curious. Because, like, what is my peasant opinion compared to the Kaiser himself, right?
I have been looking forward to this all day. I can't wait to get a hold of the models. Thank you so much, man. I am just as excited. I literally dream of building and painting these, and I cannot wait to have them. Your brain is going to get nice and rough like a stone. Be ready. Oh, boy. Okay, so I guess Jordan... here comes Ronnie. Perfect. I'll cue him back on. Welcome back, Ronnie.
All right, what I miss?
Nothing much. We just took a second to kind of catch up with chat and share some thoughts about like the Codex as a whole and how we're all really excited that a brand new kind of like route of play has opened up with all of these rules changes. There's just really a lot of things to be excited about. The army plays 40k very well, and it plays it very differently than what we used to before, with a lot more tools. Okay, let me just see if everything's good here on stream, since I closed a bunch of tabs. All right, so the Steeljacks. I guess we'll talk about both of them simultaneously. I personally think the shooters... So the Steeljacks, there are 2 data sheets I've gone back and forth on so much since the Codex leaked. I think the shooters, for me, are a strong use case in a squad of 6 coming in rapid ingress to Overwatch and denied the primary denial play turn 2 or 3. That is my opinion of the shooter Steeljacks. I think if you use them as you would Thunderkin, you will be disappointed in their output. But I think if you use them reactively, they're actually quite nice. And then they stand on the objective, of course, have the capability of overwatching something else, and they demand a more expensive threat comes out to deal with them. How do you guys feel about the Steeljacks? Maybe we'll start with Jordan on this one.
I think they're both pretty good. I personally... So the shooting jacks, some situations are really strong, right? It's the classic Overwatch, but they shoot all the way up to 24. Like anything like Eldari, like they can make one unit not be Overwatch, but they can't make multiples, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's such a nightmare unit for Eldari in that matchup. It's good. I just think it has some competition with Thunderkin in the sustained hits 2 strat, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of lowers the value of the unit a little bit. Like it doesn't do the damage of Thunderkin, obviously. It's there to Overwatch. It's there to shoot once and then Overwatch and pick up multiple resources in different turns, and it does that really well. But the sword jacks, I think, are really strong.
Sword jacks are good.
And don't compete with the sustained hits 2 strat. They get to use another strat in Oathband, which is the extra AP2, and you can have... And they hit 1 better, right? They hit on 3s naturally, with sustained hits 1 naturally as well. One of the... I don't know if there's a way to get sustained hits or lethal hits from a stratagem anywhere in Votann. I think it's only on the data sheets, right? You either have it or you don't for Votann.
I think so. I don't think there's any enhancements that provide it.
Yeah, I forget, but I think that's it. So it's like the sword jacks just naturally have sustained hits 1, hitting on 3s, so they can hit on 2s, and you can make them AP4. And that kind of math is pretty strong. They do like 10 damage into a Lehman Russ, which is not their preferred target, but that's still 10 damage into a Lehman Russ, and then it just crushes infantry. It's just really strong.
So
really
I
good.
want to point out there that like all of my input is from specifically GW layouts. I have played on WTC. I have very little experience also on UKTC. So like all of my input is strictly from GW layouts. Because I know there's people that play on other layouts here in chat. So like me saying Berserkers, again, I think they're really good. Being put into Fine Flex. Like they could be auto includes in UKTC. They can be meh on UKTC. I think I said that backwards. Well, WTC is like it could be an auto include, and then UKTC can go meh, and then GW can go either direction. Just like personally, just want to point that out there.
For sure, very important call out. Absolutely.
But yeah, and then I was just really going to quickly talk about like in Oathband, Armor of Contempt is much stronger in melee than it is in shooting, and the Steeljacks are naturally 2+ armor, so you have this just really high AP, very durable unit in melee, and it's a real pain for people, I think, to be able to deal with it, and it's really good. I think it personally for me replaces Berserks because I put damage 3 now in shooting from Thunderkin. And then I get my low damage, like damage 1, but really high volume in melee from the sword jacks.
Yeah.
Kind of flipped from the index, but I really like the sword jacks. I think they're amazing.
I think they're really nice. The high volume helps, and I'll let Ronnie share his opinion on them, and then I'll kind of top off with one of the potent ways that you can actually, like, already their damage I think is pretty nice on the 6-man, but there is a way, of course, to kick that up a notch. So Ronnie, why don't you go ahead and share your thoughts on the Steeljacks, shooting and melee.
So, like I said before, I think if you're going to take a 6-man, you take the Shooty Jacks. Well, the nicknames that we went with, I think, was Daka Jacks and Slapjacks. The Daka Jacks, you take a 6-man because 36 shots at 611. If you pop sustain hits 2 and R +1 a hit, you're going to average about 6 to 7 dev wounds.
Yeah.
Which, if you have precision, because they're on an objective, because that's what Steeljacks do now, you can precision out a character pretty effectively.
Yeah.
And then if you're taking 3-mans, I don't think 18 shots is enough at range. But 18 attacks in melee after you soften them up in shooting, I think is really good. Especially with the hitting on 3s going up to 2s if you're on an objective at 6-1.
Yeah.
I think the threat of Overwatch, if you're running Thunderkin for the threat of Overwatch, the Steeljacks tend to do that role a lot better. But I think this is also, again, meta dependent. If you're looking for resiliency, you go Steeljacks. If you're going for damage, you go Berserks and Thunderkin.
Yeah.
Berserks are just the valuable damage 3. The Steeljacks are the resiliency volume of attacks with consistency. And then in shooting against Thunderkin with the anti 3+, the conversion beamer, damage 3. But if you're looking for volume, you go Steeljacks. Because, like I said, I think it's meta dependent, but 6-man for shooty, 3-man for melee, personally.
Okay. I agree with you both on 6-man for shooting. I think the potential, like the idea with this unit is that it provides devastating Overwatch, but primarily through the form of that precision keyword. Like something walks on, you can actually precision out the character on average, most characters in the game, which is impactful. And you pick up chaff like it's nothing. If they try to throw, like, 10 OC onto your objective through some Battleline, you pick up most of them in the shooting, and it's no longer an issue for you. I initially, when I first saw the Codex and the data sheets, I was in line with you, Ronnie. I was thinking 6 shooters and then 3-mans for the melee, and using them as the early trading piece on the enemy expansion. Because, like, again, right, like they pick up all the chaff, like you throw them in, you'll pick up like a 10-man Kroot or something, and then they have to bring something more respectable out to deal with you. But seeing some of the math on the 6s, it's just ludicrous. It's so many attacks. It's absolutely insane. And somebody like Chad on our members channel on Discord shared the math on if you give the Mimir leading them the +1 to wound rerolling wound enhancement. And it is wacky the amount of damage you can do. You almost one-shot anything in the game with this melee unit. It's crazy. So, like, it's durable, it kills chaff, it kills elites, it kills tanks even if you commit the extra resources and points into it. And it's not as vulnerable to Overwatch. I'm personally very big on both variants of the jacks. I think the melee are probably a little bit stronger than the shooters, but the shooters, I could see a strong use case for taking one set of 6 for the shooting. How do you guys feel about that?
So, I'm trying to think of like where the math is. If they're talking about plasma swords or concussion gauntlets on the Slapjacks.
Plasma swords.
So, I'm trying to think of the math. If you're on an objective, 36 attacks, half sustained hits 2, it's 36 hits. So that offsets that 36 attacks. If you're plus on a wound into like a vehicle, you're wounding on 4s. So that means max damage is 18. I'm trying to think. It one-shots most things if you also pump up AP to AP 4.
Yeah.
So in that realm, I can see that happening. But if you're going into like knights and you pump up to AP 4, you can deal 18 damage.
Definitely, yeah.
But again, really that's a very expensive combo.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, I think part of the appeal of Steeljacks is like you can take them in 6-mans and be at this like really sweet 180 price point, right? Which is like a really important price point for a damage dealing type unit to be at, and that's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
I think we're going to talk about detachments later phase after this, but I definitely have input to put. Like, each of these are like really good at specific detachments.
Yeah, for sure.
The combo, just touch on Hearthfire real quick. There's a really nasty thing that you can do with the Steeljacks. It's you shoot 36 shots. Awesome. Sweet. Well, they fall back. You Overwatch. You Overwatch on a 4+. Sweet. So now you're already at 72 attacks at 611 devs.
Yeah.
Now you 1 CP. Now I'm going to shoot you because you fell back. And it also, by the way, does not have to be a unit that it fell back from. It can be just a unit that's elsewhere that can see them after they make a fallback move. You just go, cool, I'm going to Overwatch you. Well, I'm on an objective or you're on an objective, whatever yield you're at.
Yeah.
And go, well, +1, -1, now I'm back to 4s. So I've shot you 36 times on a 3+, and now I've shot you another 72 times on a 4+ for 2 CP, or 1 CP if you Overwatch for free, or for 0 CP if you have Uthar.
Yeah.
I shot you 72 times on your own turn on a 4+ with devs. How does that feel?
Yeah.
They go, I like that. I'm not a fan.
I'm very big on Hearthfire. I'm personally very big. I know you tried it out, Ronnie, right? Like, that was the first list you ran, or the first detachment you tried?
It was. The detachment itself felt very niche and unresponsive, or it felt too responsive. It's like moving towards an objective is cool, but like if the objective is out in the open, which a lot of objectives in GW are, it's not very great. Granted, it's moving towards the objective, so you don't have to end in range, but it's okay. The shooting back after you fall back, it's like if you're running Steeljacks in that detachment, which you already are, it's essentially a double Overwatch, which is okay.
It's pretty nice.
But I feel like that detachment is just a little too niche and responsive to be effective. I think it's a good teams list or detachment, because it's good at pulling ties.
Fair.
It wants your opponent to pull to the objective, you delete them off the objective, and you just continuously do that.
Yeah, which is very fun. So speaking of objectives, Tim adds very importantly that you still have to control the objective marker to get the benefit of +1. So that's true. You can't just throw guys on and say, like, I'm getting my +1 because I'm on it. You actually need to auto-see them and control it, which can make a very significant difference. And like he says, easier said than done. Okay, so I feel like both of these are strong use cases. I don't think, like, you will auto-include both, but I can see them being in almost every list.
I would say they're strong use cases. Again, I would go 3-man for melee, 6-man for shooting. I feel like they're just less effective if you do the inverse.
I think it's the nuances of melee combat with, like, the 6-mans are more valuable in melee because the risk of, like, heroic interventions or overwatches. It's just
you're the one of heroics.
Yeah, it's just and then, like, the failure, like 18 attacks, like if you leave something alive and it gets to swing back and you lose a unit in your turn, that's terrible, right? Like, melee is always kind of, especially in Votann, getting such good value out of taking the bigger squads and getting extra AP2 for, here's 6 with AP2 extra instead of 3 with AP2 extra. It's like, I think just the way Votann plays, I think the 3-mans will find hard, like, it'll be much harder to play the 3-mans, but the 6-mans will get a lot of value out of.
I think they're cheap enough.
AP2.
They're cheap enough that you could run the 6 and not feel bad about it. And I also see the volume of attacks on the 3s playing the role of just that trading piece, like Ronnie said. So I think you guys are clearly showing that there's a strong use case. You could argue your position on this, and it's very sound. So if you have a plan in mind for them, they will definitely make it into your list, and you won't feel bad about including them. So I'll put both of them in here.
The unit itself is a strong use case. It's just going to be based off of preference for volume of how much you take.
Yeah, it's much easier to slingshot with a 6-man as well, which is really big. It's really important to do in Warhammer, right?
Oh, that's a good question, Will. So, what are your thoughts on Concussion Gauntlet versus Plasma Swords? We didn't see. So, the Plasma Swords are basically universally better than the Fists, which is funny because you would think,
Yeah,
like when you
fists
think
are
about
half the
Hearthguard, it
attack.
was the opposite before. But now the volume, they finally fixed the volume issue of the Plasma Blades, but on the wrong unit. So, yeah.
Fists are half the attack and -1 to hit.
Yeah. It's
They
rough.
they should have, if they were going to be half the attack, they should have been the same hit roll. But they are not. It's the double whammy.
What I don't like is the concussion gauntlets in the Steeljacks. There's one more attacks than Hearthguard.
I
They
know.
so I feel like they are trying way too hard to try and replace Hearthguard with Steeljacks, and
Yeah.
it's not working.
Yeah.
Because I mean it is working, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because our Terminators were supposed to be the Hearthguard, our Terminator elite melee shooty unit that does everything pretty effectively. Um, I don't know why Steeljacks have an additional attack, and they're also strength 10
Yep.
2/2.
Yep.
Lethals.
I feel like do they have lethals?
They have lethals
Yeah,
too?
lethal hit.
Brother.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Trying to sell a kit? My God.
So 18
36
attacks hitting
skill
on fours. 18. So if you're running a 6-man, 18 attacks hitting on fours. Again, like Tim said, you have to control the objective to get that +1 hit.
Yeah.
And then if you're in hostile acquisition and you're throwing them out there, God bless you. But you need to control the objective. So if you're on 4 pluses out of the 18, 9 hit, and 3 of those are lethal. 6 of them are strength 10, depending on what you're going into. If you're going into infantry, you've definitely overextended already, because you probably are double the points that they're throwing out there for that unit. And then if you're going into a vehicle, you're wounding them on 4s again. So out of those 6 attacks, 3 of them wound. So now you've handed them 6 saves. They save half of them. You've only dealt 6 damage to a vehicle.
Yeah.
It's not that great.
It's underwhelming.
Again, just when you play Map Hammer, you start looking at units differently. The chances of, and then what is your reassurances? There's no reassurance with this. They will survive the hit from the vehicle coming back. They'll survive the close combat coming back, but it's not that great.
Yeah.
For the 6-man, because the whole point of sending a 6-man into something is if you send a brick into something, that thing should die. And if it does not die, you've either overextended or dice went completely out of whack. So I think 6-man with concussion gauntlets just does not do the damage that you expect it to do, especially hitting on 4s.
Which is weird. You would think that it would have the higher output into tougher targets.
Yeah.
I think it also just kind of speaks volume to like the mixed arms approach of the army now. Like you can't just send one thing in to do the job. Like it is very much like, okay, the shooters are going to reduce the OC on the objective, and the Steeljacks are going to run in now that they could out OC and take control of the objective and do the damage. So I think it's really cool. Just a side note. Okay, so I'm happy putting him here. Looks like we all have a different opinion about kind of like running them and using them. And I think it makes sense. It's valid. Different detachments will use them differently. So let's move on to the bikes. So long gone are the days of the 6-man bike squads, in my opinion for now anyway. The 3s are back. I was always a big fan of 3s. I don't know if Tim's still here. Maybe this breaks his heart. But they've lost a lot of output because of the ignore cover. I think that was brutal for them. That hurts a lot because everything's AP1. Everything's going to be in cover. And you're probably not going to want to trade your yield points on these guys to like get sus too early on, especially without ignore cover. But they play a different role now, for me anyway, in my list. This is going to be like my turn 1 trading piece to deny primary on my opponent's expansion. And ideally, I'd have a second to screen in the back, unless I'm running a 10-man warrior break. But the use has changed significantly. I think it still plays an important job because we've lost the scout on the Sagi to get warriors into position to deny turn 1. So this has kind of taken its place in my list anyway. Ronnie, how do you feel about the 3-man bikes or the 6-man bikes, whatever bikes?
You don't run 6-mans. I think the only way that you do run 6-mans is the Persecution Detachment with the support of Thunderkin. Thunderkin stripping cover, you run probably like 1x6, 2x3. I feel like, again, you run 6-mans at every detachment. 6-mans are just so good.
Really?
It's just, if you have the access to sustain 2, you run Beamers. If you don't, you run Grabkin. But 6-mans are run in 1 detachment, and that's it. I don't even think you really run them in that detachment because it wants volume of attacks, but or volume of units. But a 6-mana bikes after you strip cover with full hit and wound rerolls for 1 CP, because again, Uthar is probably going to be their support. Full hit and wound rerolls with that unit is pretty disgusting. But I'm kind of with Tim, is you don't run it a lot. You run 1x3, 2x3 because they're cheaper. They went down 10 points per 3-man. So there can be an easy trade piece that scouts 9, moves 12. It threatens your opponent not to deploy on the line with their cheap chap units. So they have to respect that. And then in addition, it's they uppy downy. They still uppy downy. Just because it's not touching within 6. Like, I understand you could just snake yourself out, but wholly within 9 is not that hard to do. You just uppy downy, uppy downy, uppy downy, drop in, pick up the 5-man, uppy downy, pick up another 5-man, so your tanks don't have to actually dedicate to those units.
Yeah.
Your Thunderkin don't have to dedicate to those units. So 2x3 I think is a good amount to have. 1x3 is also acceptable with the current state of things.
Yeah, I was, initially I was thinking about dropping him completely at the very beginning when we had the initial points from the book and I saw the indirect at 95. I was like, it's about the same price as I was paying before to do a similar job. Yeah, I lose some of that board control by going up and down, but they get the screen and I still get to pick up chaff without having to sack a unit, which is always nice. But I think the use case has definitely changed. 6s are kind of dead, and the 3s are good. You still get something to screen, go uppy downy, and you can still deny primary. Jordan, how do you feel about them? You were the one who actually talked me into considering taking 2x3, 1 to screen, instead of just sacking 1 and not having them anymore. How do you feel about the 3s?
I mean, we don't consider 6-mans anymore. They don't have the damage. You just look at the 3-mans, and the 3-man it's 6 OC. It can threaten their natural, right? Like, very easy for you to be like, all right, you've only got 5 OC on the objective. Boom, here's 3 bikes. I've got it. It's just that's what the unit does. You use it 1 turn, the other in the back, uppy downies, it screens, threatens. It makes them screen their backfield too, right? If we didn't take bikes, it's like, well, we're not taking Hearthguard, and then the opponent doesn't even have to screen their backfield, and then it's like, oh my god, what are we doing? like you probably need to run 2 3-man, and they steal objectives from your opponent and kill some skirmish units, and that's about it. That's what they do, but they're cheaper. They're 80 points.
And if we didn't get Kâhl on bike, we're not getting Steeljacks on bikes. I wanted a Kâhl on bike so bad. I wish for a Berserker character. I wish we had a Kâhl on bike. That would have been great.
Steeljacks on bikes. I wouldn't even be surprised if they try to replace the bikes with more Steeljack units.
They just replace all dwarves with the robots. We're Advec now.
Yeah. I feel like. Yeah, go ahead.
I think 2x3 is just a sweet spot.
Yeah.
There's some small quality of life improvements as well on the bikes, right? The AP2 on the knives, naturally. Very cute.
Right.
Oh my god,
18-inch shotgun.
I didn't even see that.
the shotguns finally being 18 inches as well. Also very cute. I don't know the question of whether you take the rotary cannon or the ion beamer.
You still take the rotary.
You think you take the rotary?
The 6 shots, it's not really there for the AP. It's there for the volume.
Yeah.
The 611 is just still 6 shots. 611 still good. Sustained hits. I still see you potentially taking, again, if demons become a problem, 6 mana bikes with sustain hits 2 will still pick up a Great Unclean One with 4 Feeling Pain. I've done it before, I'll do it again. When demons become the problem, or again, like GSC becomes the problem, where orcs become the problem, where saves are not an issue, 6 bikes will probably become more prevalent. But 2x3 is probably where we sit at. Especially with the points that we can spend for it.
Yeah.
80 points for 3 bikes versus 80 points for 3 Thunderkin. And Goose just kind of hit it on the head. I'm looking at my list, feeling like cut this for Thunderkin, cut that for more Thunderkin. Thunderkin are probably our best data sheet right now.
Yeah, for sure.
They're definitely gonna get nerfed as points wise.
Yeah.
Or they just overlook it and go, Votann's struggling because they're missing this rule, this rule, this rule, and they just give it to us.
Maybe.
Maybe. But Thunderkin are probably our best data sheet. So if you're not running at least 6, you're wrong.
Somebody put the copy pasta in chat again, where it's like, how do you think about bikes? So Thunderkin are good. So where should we put this one, guys? Like, I mean, I think 1x3, like 2x3 is still gonna make an appearance in lists. But like it's obviously not in the same caliber as like these units why you're including them, but it's like a tech piece that you kind of just need to have to play the game now.
Oh, we're currently not rating data sheets on like S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier.
That's true.
We're looking at them as their uses.
Yeah.
As like list quality.
Yeah.
I think bikes are going to be an auto include because you're not going to see a Mimir strategist in every list. You're not going to see Buri in every list. You will see bikes in some quantity in every list.
I think you see 1x3 at least in every list. I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah.
If we were
not flashy.
If we were rating them in different, like in quality of data sheet, I think it would be different. But currently, we're rating them as what is the quantity in each list? Are you going to see them in each list? If so, in what variety and why?
Yeah.
They're not flashy, but they do something very unique that the faction needs.
They do. They do. It's like you said, you need that board pressure, like the uppy downy. If you don't have, well, you won't have Hearthguard anymore, unfortunately, but yeah. All right, boys, 2 sheets left. 2 little cute vehicles here. We got the Capri Defender. Capri Defender comes in at 70 points. It's got the Magna shot on it, which is pretty nice. And importantly, it scouts. It moves very fast at 12, and it has a move and shoot of D6, which is pretty good. Now, I don't play on GW terrain a lot, but I recently started. So while I was kind of mapping out deployment, these guys fit a really nice role on some of the layouts of kind of just screening and then also being able to just move up to shoot and then reactivating back into your screening position, which is kind of nice. They're also quite cheap, 70 points. You get, I think, 7 wounds at T7. Not bad. Nice little haul. 2 OC each. And they got a couple other gun options as well and like some little sidearms. I like them. I think they're good. I think they're priced pretty well. I could see strong use cases for these as well, and just take a couple of them. If you got the points, just get more units, more activations, and pop shots to help support the rest of the army with the Magna Cannon, which again fills a role that we kind of lack for like a dedicated anti-tank piece. So I'm pretty big on them. I think they're nice. What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah. Pairs really well when a Thunderkin ignores cover, right?
Yeah.
It gives you a rail cannon that, it only hits on 4s naturally, like, but you fire and fade, right? So it's like, it's an incidental las cannon, or not, incidental rail cannon that works really well at the ignores cover from Thunderkin, and you might get some more damage than you expected. And it might be for free, because you just fire and fade. So.
Yeah.
That's basically what it does. It screens, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Sometimes gives you some damage. I think it's good. Strong use, but...
What about you, Ronnie?
Nothing crazy.
You were talking about the rail cannon. I'd probably take the rotary on it if I am going to take it, because D3 plus 3 shots is not that great. There's a reason why we don't take them on warriors. Taking the volume option, again, I feel like we're going to struggle more volume-wise than we did prior, because now we don't ignore cover. So now we need more shots to actually go through, hit, wound, fail saves, as opposed to one really good shot. because one really good shot is cool until they have an invul, or they have cover, or they have armor consent. Because if I'm shooting a railgun into a space marine, I'm probably not using the carrier effectively, or I'm probably actively getting tabled. But 6 shots, again, 6-1-2 is pretty good. Sustained hits 1, which it's a little bit better than bites because there's 6-1-1 sustained hits. So it's like a nice balance between the bolt cannon and the rotary. So if I am going to take the defender, it's going to be the rotary. However, um, 70 points for this is not bad, but it's one body that's 7 wounds that can get just shot by a las cannon. Versus 10 points more, it's 3 bodies, so it requires a little bit more volume as opposed to 1 shot that just dealt a lot of damage. 2-shot las cannons, 1-shot railgun, shaft clearing could kill this because it's 4-up saves. And I've had too many chances or opportunities to die to bolt cannons or bolt fire because it's AP1, AP0, and I just couldn't make a 3-up to save my life. This is a 4+, potentially a 5+, depending on AP. I do like the fact that it has a smoke launcher. I do like the fact that it has Scout 9, but I'd rather spend the 10 points more for mounted because there's not a lot of things that interact with mounted specifically, but there's plenty of things that interact with hit and wound rerolls against vehicles, damage against vehicles, +1 hit, wound against vehicles. I don't think there's a lot that actually interacts with mounted. Like fire dragons, devastators, eradicators. I think it's just eradicators, not devastators.
Yeah.
A lot of things interact with that specific keyword versus bikes that are mounted.
I see where you're coming from. I can understand your opinion of wanting to go for the volume. I still personally feel like I'd go Magna on them. It's only D3+3, but like it's 70 points, it's pop shots, and I would see you kind of taking like 2 of these. Not necessarily attached to the same unit, but I could see you taking 2 of these. And it kind of just leads into that mixed arms kind of approach that the list, that the army has kind of come into form with. Of just everything kind of supports each other, and you would use this to really kind of screen, and if someone does bring out a tank to deal with something, then you got 2 of these and maybe a land fort that are going in, the damage could potentially ramp up. It's inconsistent for sure, it's 1 shot. People weren't running Magnas when they were 1 shot on the land fortress, unless you were Jordan, but I think for 70 points, it's fast, it's a body. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. I wouldn't build around it in a list. I think it's fine. Like, the points are fine. Yeah, it's nice to have. Like, the points are fine. Any more, and it's like, this is too expensive. Any less, and it's like, I'm taking, like, 6 of these. I think it's fine. Do we all feel good about that?
I don't think it's great. I think it is good. I think there are things that I would rather spend the points on. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it's really good for its points. It's really good for its data sheet. But there are things that personally I'd rather spend the points on. I think it is a fine flex or low strong case use.
Yeah.
Like, it is a good data sheet. But again, I'd rather spend my points elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. Okay, well, thank God I bought 4 of them. So next up we have...
Okay, I bought 3. I got 3.
We all got scammed. This was... Oh, dear brother. I think the Earthshaker broke the bank for me, though. I'm not going to see use on this until probably 6 months from now. So the Hecaton Land Fortress, our last data sheet here, the vehicle... the transport capacity was a massive change on this, a huge quality of life improvement, and honestly just brought a whole other depth of play to the army, being able to safely transport Thunderkin now, full 6-man squads, the Steeljacks as well. I think it's an auto-include, to be honest with you, just for the transport capacity alone. The guns are interesting. I'm still pretty big on the conversion beamer shots, but... I do acknowledge the limitation of once you enter Fortify, you need to be on objectives yourself, which means you probably won't always be in conversion range. which is a downside. So the Magnas are a little bit more agnostic to that. I still think it's beefy. It's very durable. It maintained its stat line. It's 240 points. It's a little bit pricey, but I think we need to just pay it. Like, you need to bite the bullet on it if you're taking some of the 6-man bricks to help get them around the board safely. Let's start with Jordan. What do you think about it?
Yeah. It's super important in list building. It carries your Thunderkin. It carries your Steeljacks.
Yeah.
Right? Boom. Like, this is how you play Votann. Take hecatons and carry these units, right? So just off that alone, super important. But pairs really well with the Thunderkin's ignore cover, right? Because now your bolt cannons and matter auto cannon suddenly slam. The rail cannon also benefits really well from the ignores cover. So I prefer it with the rail cannons. It's gonna let you shoot rail cannon into tough thing, shoot bolt cannons into chaff. Just kind of gives it a little bit more use. I think the beamer is probably better if you sustained hits to it, right? But then you're not sustained hits toing the Thunderkin. I think the rail cannon is just more agnostic, and also works really well with the shoot back strat in Oathband. Right?
True.
Which is much easier to trigger now, and also cheaper because of Uthar.
Yep,
So,
very true.
Yep.
Very true.
So, like, I think the rail cannon is now going to be the general first choice option. And it's like, what, maximum 20 damage now? That's its ceiling now, is maximum 20, but splitting it into 2 shots is so good for that type of profile.
It's significantly better.
Also, interestingly, like, the dash hit ability, at first I read it and I was like, I don't know if I care about this. But thinking about it, so it ignores all hit modifiers, right? So if you tag it in melee, you don't need to fall back, shoot, and charge with it all the time, right? Because you just be like, I don't care about this -1 to hit. You don't care about smoke a lot of the times, right? Because you just shoot Thunderkin, get ignores cover, and then you naturally ignore the hit modifier from potential smoke. You just don't care about smoke with this thing. Quite good. Like, it's a good tank. I don't know if it needed to increase. It's a bit annoying, but it's pretty good. Auto include.
Yeah, I think auto include. Ronnie, how do you feel about it?
I think it's either a strong use case or auto include. So I'm leaning towards more auto include. It's our answer to high toughness now. Besides vehicle monsters, so like a Lord Discordant for CSM, like higher toughness mounted units. Things that don't interact with our anti, and also for things that it gives us the extra range. I'm personally running in Need Guard. I'm debating between 2 and 3 land forts. If I am running 3, it's 2 rails, 1 beamer, and then if it's 2, it's 1 beamer, 1 rail. I think that additional shot with the railgun made it a lot more appetizing, a lot more competitive with the beamer. The beamer becomes a lot more effective with the sustained hits too, which is why, again, I'm only running 1. If I want to delete something, I would combo it with the Thunderkin, strip cover, and then sustain its 2 on the beamer. But that's only if I do not have my 6-man Thunderkin on the board, or they are not targeting the thing they need it for. But if I'm picking something for sustained hits 2, it's going to be the 6-man Beamerkin. This is a very close second. Granted, the bolt cannon already has baked in sustained hits 2. I do like the fact that the Mater auto cannon has sustained hits 1 now, but pumping up even a railgun to sustain hits 2 and rolling A6. If 1 hits and 1, it happens, especially with reroll 1s, and if you have +1 to hit because you parked it on your home and you're watching the center objective, on like layout 1. +1 to hit, so you're hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. There's a high likelihood that you could roll a 6 and a 3, where it's now you went from 2 shots to 4 shots real fast. And that ceiling for damage doubles. And if it's into a knight and they're on like 5-up invulns, like, cool, you make 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 4, more likely between 1 and 2. There's a chance that I could just take you down to like 5 wounds, 6 wounds.
I like that quite a bit.
With just the railgun. But I do like the beamer. I do think the damage 4 is very, very valuable still. Especially into like Wolfguard Terminators, Wraiths, Deathshroud Terminators, Thunderwolf Cavalry, the 4 wound bodies that actually fear the beamer. It forces your opponent to play a lot more respectfully, respect your ability to walk on. So, like I said, I will always reserve a beamer Thunderkin, a beamer Land Fortress, either or the other or both. Because being able to dictate that you don't have cover because I walked on so you don't, and I angled it so I can see all of your guys, but maybe one. You got lucky on one. Or I can also guarantee that I'm outside of 12-inch range because you wanted to move towards me, so you get out of my beamer range.
Yeah.
I'm walking on, so you either don't have cover or you have cover on 1 or maybe 2 guys, and I'm I'm inside conversion range, so I can get my crit 4s. So if I point this at a unit, it's probably dead. So I'm a big fan of auto include or top of strong use case.
Yeah. I agree.
Depending on, because it is 240 points, and you're paying
Expensive.
for the Land Raider chassis, defensive profiles, but I still think I will take 2 to 3 at 240 points.
I think 2 are like every list I've tried to make so far. I'm just like, yeah, I need to transport this stuff. That's the problem. It's the only way to transport. It's not like you have a cheaper variant that has no guns. It is literally the only way to transport everything that's in like strong use that also happens to be like high on like if we did an ABCD tier list in terms of data cards and like strength capabilities. So I just think it's an auto include. And also I really like the extra range on the Magna Rail rifle. Like you were saying, Ronnie, from center objective, right? Like layout 1. If you did the little trick with the Jaegers, right? It's like, okay, hey, if you want to disrespect me and like poke something out, I could reach you safely with my Land Fortress. Do you want to take that chance? So it is nice just to have the threat of that. Okay, boys, so I think I'm pretty confident with this as well. That wraps up the data card tier list. I think, are we ready to get Tim in here and hear his opinion on the Berserks?
Yeah. Tim.
All right, Tim, are you still here? I think he's still here.
Yeah, getting Tim in here, and then we can also probably touch base on the 5 detachments.
Yeah.
6 if you actually include Hearthband. But I think touching base on each detachment, I think if I were to order them, Need Guard is our number 1 detachment. Like competitive wise, not fun. Not worried about flavor or whatnot. Competitive wise, it's Need Guard. And then I would say Prosecution, the Prospect detachment.
I love that.
And then I would say then it goes Brandfast, and then Hearthfire, then Berserkers. I think Berserkers have like a very niche playstyle, and someone who's really good with melee armies and timing and have enough infiltrate scout to kind of hold off your opponent and stage them where you need them. It would work very well, but I think between Hearthfire and the Berserker detachment, there are weaker detachments.
Yeah.
Brandfast, I feel like, requires you to stay in hostile acquisition a little bit too much to get the strongest stratagems out of that.
Yeah.
So it requires you to stay off objectives and then also spend max points on the Mimnirs. But I think both our Need Guard and our Prospect attachments are probably our strongest ones.
The Prospect one gets me excited. Oh, there he is.
Tim. Hello. How are you guys?
The man, the myth, the legend himself. How's it going, man?
Really well. Like right now, painting my Steeljacks.
Oh, how do you have them? That's crazy. Everybody has them before me. This is insane.
As you said, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yes. You know, I just scratched my local game store and I got them. You know.
So lucky.
Flaunting his Steeljacks in front of our faces.
So lucky.
Yes, totally. I saw you talked a bit, and like right now in Germany, it's about 4 in the morning.
Oh my god.
So
Yeah, I
so,
was gonna say
He was
but
here. He was excited.
the shock
yeah,
system.
totally. Like I'm really happy to be here because like I want to have Votann talk. Like WTC is over, finally something new. You know, like my coach was basically like, no, you cannot look at the leaks. No, you cannot. And I was like, nah, I will.
It must have been torture, man. It must have been absolute torture.
It
So,
was totally 100%.
good job, Tim, at
Yeah,
WTC.
big
as usual.
congratulations,
Yeah.
man.
Best in faction, and also what did you place? What, top 10 WTC overall?
I don't think top 10. I think I'm a bit more lower because like I'm still picking out the Dari fist out of my teeth.
Oh,
Because
that's right.
because like I was really underestimating Liam. But besides that, yeah, it was really good overall. But yeah, WTC was something own. Was a good time. Last time playing the old list, I would say, and now we have some new things to play with, and you all are excited. So I'm
Yeah,
excited as well.
I was talking to Nick, and I was like, "Oh yeah, congrats on second in Votann." He's like, I was neck and neck with Tim," and then I turned around and saw he picked up Mortarion, and I knew I was not getting that. And I thought I chuckled out loud when I read that. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
picking up Mortarion is not a small feat, especially in Index."
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I
overall,
was like
Berserk.
everything.
What are you thinking?
Oh yeah, Berserks. I mean, I don't want to crush your hopes, but like if there would be a tier under ECOG tier, I would put them in there.
Oh boy.
Yes, I mean
Yeah,
like
think so,
mean
too.
for
Yeah.
me like
I'm a
the
man
main
of my
problem
word.
is
They've been
so the main
moved.
problem for me is basically like I don't see you can ever play them as 10-man squads because they're just too expensive. I mean, if we just look at the baseline, everything got reduced to half. The damage, the toughness, basically everything except against vehicles, and they still stay the same points. And also, I don't have fucking space in my hackathons anymore for them. And I can just take a champion for 70 points that, on average, with AP5 now, kills the 5-man squads as well, or like doesn't kill a 5-man squad, but like should do one damage, kills one like scout or whatever in the impact mortals, and then do like his 4 kills with his axe, and then we are at the same point. Like Berserks, at least for me right now, are completely dead. Also,
Even
it's
running
like
2x5, just small skirmish anti-primary pieces.
the problem I see is, okay, what do we put in our hackathons now? We always have like 12 spaces. And it's like, okay, we have 6 Steeljacks or we have 6 Thunderkins. There's no space for these 5 Berserks. So like we have this weird spot where we put like 3 Thunderkin and 5 Berserks into a hackathon. And then we have like, yeah, this is nothing we really want in there. Because this is like, feels like a bit bad, but also we need to have it in there. And like, I mean, we are all really happy that the hackathons can finally transport something that is not a 5-man squad or a 10-man squad Berserks. But I would say, why don't we have 16 space? Like honestly, it would fix a lot of our problems. Not 16, sorry, 18.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Isn't that like the kill rig for orcs that you can run like 20 dudes?
yeah.
I think it's
Sounds
Or the battle
22.
wagon?
I think it's 22 for their
It's
their
about the
killer,
same
if
size.
I remember.
But it's funny that you mentioned running 5 Berserks and 3 Thunderkin, because I think that's kind of like a good spot to have, is running 1x5, 3 Thunderkin, so you can support the Thunderkin, or support the landfort that you pop out of for stripping cover. In addition to having that 5-man that's kind of like the trunk monkey. You press the button and they got too close, so you can just handle that threat, especially if they got too close on an objective. Granted, I understand where you're coming from, is like they don't have the +1 to hit, +1 to wound, but I do think
Yes.
the hammers are a little bit more valuable now that they're anti 3+. And if you're running beamers on Thunder or beamers on forts, strength 10, not +1 to wound, is a problem that we're gonna have. So having those, I think the anti 3+ is gonna be a lot more valuable than people realize, and it does require a lot more than people think to kill Berserks. If you just pop one shot or a couple shots of 1 damage, you're gonna be very upset.
It's swingy.
So they're gonna have to dedicate. Yeah, it's very swingy. You have to actually dedicate a couple more units to thought. And if you keep two alive and I pump AP into that with anti 3+, I'm still gonna pop 9 damage into your Vindicator or 9 damage into your Predator, and for 2 dudes, that's a lot of damage.
Yes, I would agree with that in terms of, okay, the Berserks have a really high chance to like swing up, but if we go like a bit down to the math, it's really unlikely that they will now survive anything. Like honestly, even if the Hackathon explodes and you roll like 2 1s on your fucking disembark, and then you roll through 3 ups, oh no, 40 points gone. It's like, yes, if I would say against vehicles they're kind of better, but like your opponent needs actually like give you these vehicles, that because I would still say index detachment is basically the only detachment that has like actual play, because all the strats are basically the best, and there's like where we have our support for most of our units. Like, I don't know if everybody agrees with that, because I know that there's like some rumors about other detachments, but for me, it's like this additional AP buff Berserks need if you want to use them, else AOC will just kills you completely. And there I just don't see that they will ever come into contact with something that actually matters. And also the biggest problem I think is now, like before, like with the old Codex, enemies couldn't basically stage a 10-man unit from Marines or 10-man unit from like Terminators behind the wall and be like, just charge me with your Berserks, I don't care. Because like there were really few units that actually survived the 10-man squad. And now, like I talked with a lot of players, like I played against the new World Eaters, played against some people from WTC, from the French team, whatever, and it was all people were like, then charge me. Like in the end, it's like 15 attacks, or even if it's a big squad, it's like 30 attacks, 15 hits. And then we can see, like, if you have -1 hit or -1 to wound, it goes even more into the dark. Also, for me, it just feels like they are not doing the damage to even close as being before, and I'm always trading down in points. And honestly, oh boy, are we expensive now. I know this is like not maybe not something we want to completely cover here, but
Yeah.
and I mean I did now about 20 games with the new Codex. I would say a 20% cut of the whole army would be fine, and we still wouldn't be in a position where we are even close to the old one.
Wow. Everything
I
feels
agree.
10 points higher than it should be. That I agree
I was
with
gonna
out the
say,
gate.
yeah, Tim, we've been
I
covering.
just feel like Berserks just have a different role. I agree with you 110% with what you're saying. But I feel like again, this is WTC versus GW, and then this is also 10-man versus 5-man. I think the 5-man hammers are valuable. I think the axes are okay. If you're running 3 units, you run a unit of axes. If you're running 2, you run 2 hammers. But I think the 5-mans are just honestly just a tech piece, especially for the current meta. Because throwing 5 Berserks into Canis and saying you don't have a save is still a, a crap load of damage. Even more so than it was before, because it's not wounding on 4s, it's wounding on 3s. But I think it's currently a good tech piece. I feel like depending on how the meta shifts, I feel like, again, our army has become very good at answering the meta with our new data sheets, our new detachments. Um, Currently, I think Berserks are kind of good, especially with what we're going against with a bunch of bloat drones, a bunch of knights, a bunch of vehicles. But I feel like what it's going to shift to afterwards, which I feel like is going to be very horde based, very MSU based. I feel like Berserks are going to become a lot less valuable.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's I don't know like how much you want to talk into it, and honestly, I'm just really happy that I can even be here and don't want to take too much spotlight here. I will personally just think that we are especially not good in the meta right now, but this is just like my concern right now, because I think the biggest problem we have is that because we are so expensive, we can only go to one direction. We either can face big horde armies and we really struggle with like elite armies with 2-up saves, or we can try to focus on this, and then what you said is basically okay, then we cannot kill horde armies anymore, and then we are in a spot where like all the time half of our army is just not good at doing what it should do. And this combined with the fact that we are basically hitting for at least 2 turns only on 4s, and even then it's still kind of hard to get better than 4s. I personally would say yes, Berserks have a spot if you have the points. For me, for 100 points, I just don't have them. It's like I can get 3 champions for 210, and for at least in my game plan, they are doing the same. And then I have 90 points left for something else. What I don't know, Jaegers that just die because whatever. But like this is like my point, and I also have space in the hackathons. What is probably my biggest part here, because I just don't know where to fit them in. Like I have all the time, I have 5 Zergs standing somewhere, be awkward, and then I'm always oh no, I hope my enemy doesn't have indirect, or he doesn't just use these 5 JPIs to charge me and kill me.
Yeah.
But I would understand that it's a bit different in terms of WTC and Games Workshop terrain. Because honestly, on Games Workshop terrain, I think the Berserks are even less good. But this more of a term because of hackathons don't really have defense anymore, at least for 2 turns. Or it depends if you go first or second. And this means there's a lot of armies that just can shoot them to death now.
Yeah.
But
No, I completely agree where you're getting at. I've played I think now 13 games, with the Codex, 10 of them being Need Guard. I'm kind of coming to a realization that 3x5 Berserks is not that great. I'm probably I'll probably drop down to 1 to 2x5, and replacing them with 3x5's melee Steeljacks, because I realize I'm using them a lot more for melee and objective-based skirmishing. Plus, the Steeljacks can survive a hit a lot harder than Berserks can. Fourth Gundopain's cool, but having the 2-up save with access to armor contempts and or go to ground, and then transhuman, I think is very good. And 18 attacks at 621, hitting on 2s is also very good. So I'm probably going to end up dropping between 1 and 2 units of Berserks. Probably still going to keep that 3 or 1x5 hammers just for that tech piece. Give myself probably another 20 points on my list. I currently have 10 points, and then see if I can squeak out another 15 and get the Mimir. But I agree with you. I don't think Berserks are completely dead, but I do think they're a good tech piece with the current meta.
Yeah, like if you can, like if you see like a point where you can use them, and especially in the meta you play, of course they are still worth it. In the end, against vehicles, they are kind of fine, as long as the vehicles don't have invulns. And yeah, I think that's all you can say basically, because it's still a bit different in terms of playstyle. I would say in Germany maybe it's also different because we now have Votann in our high meta for nearly 1.5 years, so everybody kind of tacked a bit into it or know how a lot of these things works. And yeah, it's also like a completely different new playstyle in terms of we don't have this alpha strike anymore. We need to play much more KG, and this is probably also something that we need to understand for like 1 or 2 weeks more.
Yeah. I just want to add, I feel like Jordan, I think, was going down the same path. Like, it seems like there's a big shift, right? From Index to Codex. We went from less of raw output damage dealing to more of like a toolbox that works together, more KG and control. And I think a big drawback in this is that the points don't align with the output of the army right now. And like everybody kind of says, as we're talking about all this tier lists, about all the data cards, it's like, this would be nice to have to do this role. It just doesn't fit. And if it's suboptimal and it doesn't fit, it's just not worth taking right now because you don't have that luxury. So if Tim, you're saying you played 20 games and you feel like the army could come down 20%, I've played none, and I still think it could come down some points. I think it's very clear that there's a problem with the points cost of the army right now. Jordan, did you want to top off on that?
Yeah, he was like, I don't know if we've talked about cost, and I'm like, we've been talking about it all night. like we think generally most of our units are overcosted by a fairly large amount, and it's we know what data sheets are good. Like what data sheets are kind of auto include, right? Just generally, but I think it's just hard to put it all together right now.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I think people need to realize is our identity as an army has changed. We went from a trading pressure army to a primary denial control army. And that is a completely different play style than what we are used to as a whole. And people are still trying to look at it as well, I could throw this unit away. Well, I could throw this unit away. Well, I can target with this, this, and this. Well, the issue with that being is, well, targeting with this, this, and this means that they can clap back and pick up that, that, and that. And you are not okay with that because that valuable resource has become a lot more valuable. It's not giving you access to +1 hit or +1 wound by losing it. It's you are losing a unit that could potentially score you 9 to 10 points of primary or secondary. And I think that's something that we need to understand as an army as a whole, is our identity of an army has changed.
Yep.
I mean, yes, I would agree there that like we changed, but like I mean, I don't know how deep you're all into the game right now, and I don't know like against what you tested, but every game I play against like the new Grey Knights with like 6 NDKs or like Space Marines, and I would say a lot of other armies as well. They can deploy on the line, basically. They can just run into us and just make so much pressure in turn 1 and 2, especially if we don't have like the turn 1, because we basically only get in turn 3 to use our defensive strats, at least for index detachment oathband. And we have this small little point where we can try to fight it, but like if the enemy has AOC, then it's basically like our big Thunderkin squad goes through super random, okay, let's see if I can roll 4s, then let's see if I can roll 5s, then let's see if he can roll 3s. And if this doesn't work, we are dead completely because the Thunderkins are just dying instantly. Especially with them having not -1 to wound, and like even hackathons, at least in a lot of Gladiators armies, are just dying like flies because, oh look, here's my Vindicator with AP4, ignore cover, +1 to wound. So I'm ignoring everything that you have in terms of defensive, and you don't even have AOC. Like it doesn't need to be that hard, of course, and it depends also a bit on the map. What are you playing? But I feel like we need, on the one side, we need now to place much more defensively. But we are also not that fast anymore, so we cannot really push into the midfield. And once the enemy realizes that we don't have the damage to actually threaten anything, because even 2 Magna Raids, I mean, like the only defense of our hackathons right now are, okay, if you don't kill me, I have a decent chance of killing you, but like it's still only a decent chance because turn 1 and 2 you will hit on 4s, or besides your enemy has like a nail in the head, and be like, oh no, I go on the objective marker, and this is all we have in defensive. I know it sounds like a bit horrible, and maybe I'm a bit frustrated and also a bit late, but like right now, I think also there's one question I have to all of you. Why do you put the half guard into med tier? I think it's the only unit right now that we have that actually can delete nearly anything in the game for us. But like I feel like we have such a big problem in terms of doing reliable damage. Yes, we have our 2 to 3 big blobs doing probably really hard damage, but it's like the Thunderkins with the beams, they will completely overkill a unit, or they will not kill it. There's nothing between it, for my feeling. And we don't have, like with the old Votann, where we had like, there are still 6 warriors that shoot, there's still a Sagittar that shoots, there's still something else that shoots. Like we don't have this chip damage anymore anywhere on the field because we are so tight on everything.
So I think we put meh for the Hearthguard because, yeah, they are a nice rapid ingress threat, but they've effectively been swapped over. If you want to take melee, you take melee Steeljacks. If you want the shooty platform, you take the shooty Steeljacks. Because they have the 2-up save and they have the additional wound, the additional toughness.
Yeah.
The Hearthguard went down a whole toughness. They lost an actually effective ability. Now we have it as an army, but we're not getting it until about turn 3. Rerolling hit rolls of 1, hitting on 2s, effectively full hit rerolls, which is cool, but they need to be up close. They need to make their charge because you have rapid ingress them or deep struck them. They need good character support, so either the champion or the Kâhl. I would probably suggest a champion for a 5-man. They went from D6 to D3 shots. They went from strength 4 to strength 3. So they're winning everything in the game on 5s, if not 4s for elves or GSC. Even then, they could be winning on 5s against GSC. I feel like I would put them in top of meh, bottom of fine flex, because they're a nice rapid ingress piece, but that's about it. If you want the damage in their melee, again, you have Steeljacks that have an additional attack with the 10-2-2 versus 8-2-2. Because they also dropped, I think, a strength on their concussion gauntlets.
Yes.
I
Sorry,
think they got
didn't want
nerfed
to
in every aspect. No, you're good.
like I would say, just like because you were talking a bit about Math Hammer, just do the Math Hammer on the Plasma with the +1 to wound, sustain 2, lethal, reroll once to hit, reroll once to wound, because you will get like on average against at least most of elite infantry targets, you will get like a crazy amount, more than like 23 wounds from the Plasma. And I think AP3 is such a decent spot to kill Space Marine buddies where we are now fucking struggling to kill them with. Because we never want to shoot Thunderkin into Space Marine buddies, at least not in like 5 men here or 5 men there, because they are so expensive for us to do. And I feel like the Thunderkin at least giving us like some kind of threat if the enemy just says, okay, fuck it, I can stat check you completely, I can just run into you and you can say, yes, you can try, but here's a unit that actually comes down and can pretty much always delete a unit, and at least if you play Oathband once again, you have guaranteed basically that you have your turn 2, you have your second Doctrine with the -1 to wound. They still die like flies, like we don't need to talk about it. Like I'm not a real fan of them. Like there was a point why if basically the whole whole old index, I was like, if you play them, you just want to lose points. But like right now, I feel a bit that they are misinterpreted in terms of they are not. Yes, of course, they are still kind of fine in melee, but the most value to have now is there is actually a threat there, and it actually is a shooting threat with AP3 that doesn't rely on Thunderkin.
Okay, so it sounds like your line of thinking here is basically like, from the experience you've had playing the game, we do a lot less damage. It's a lot easier for your opponent to just disrespect you and stand out in the open or just rush you with an alpha strike. And then this is that defensive piece that just comes down and says, no, I will delete one thing that you send forward easily, and you need to respect that now. So I could see the logic behind that. I really do. And I do think, to be fair, when we were talking about it, we all said if they were like a little bit cheaper, we could put them in a different place. I still think they're just too expensive, but everything in the army is too expensive right now. But I 100% see where you're coming from with it. Like Jordan had mentioned, the math behind the strat, it's like, it's very potent. It's a good unit to have. It's just everything's too expensive.
It's really good, but it's just expensive. I don't know what to say.
It's also replacing an Iron Master with 6 Thunderkin that, again, like you said, they either overkill or they don't kill. But the chances that they don't kill, I feel like, is less likely. Like, into a Horde, yes. They're going to struggle into a 20-man. Then again, most of our army is going to, unless you're running Steeljacks with Sustain 2. But Thunderkin, Beamerkin specifically, with Sustain hits 2 with Iron Master +1 wound, I'm not even there for the reroll ones because the Iron Master gives it anyway. But it's more of access of a hit on potentially 3s, critting on 4s, wounding on 4s. I will delete God, and I hope you freaking prayed to him prior because you're about to meet him. But I think if you're taking the call 5 Hearthguard, 10 Hearthguard, I think it's just better for points to have access to the AP2 damage 3 at range, as opposed to the Hearthguard rapid ingressing or deep striking. I do understand where you're coming from, because I think the combo that you're going for is very good, and it's a little bit more flexible because it has the deep strike capability and melee. So I think you can go either or, but I think the Thunderkin is probably going to be more popular and definitely better for deleting elites. Especially if you're able to trip cover with the 3-man of Thunderkin.
Yeah, totally. Like I'm with you there, and honestly, there will be no more different ways, and I really like that we are not like tied down to basically having this only one thing we can play, or maybe these 2 things. It's just like at the start, I was like, everybody probably goes for Thunderkin. I go for a lot of them as well. And I just feel like because all of them have damage 3, at least because you play the 3-man squads with the, what's it called, the graph cannons. There's like, I saw it so much times that the enemy just picks off like 2 to 3 Terminators you want to shoot in or something else because he just, okay, they didn't take my invul. And now my beam Thunderkins cannot shoot. And this is like, okay, then sometimes you say, okay, then I don't shoot with them in, you just shoot them with them solo. But like today I shot into a Vindicator as example, where I just had this Thunderkin left to shoot into, and he AOC'd, he's in cover, and then it started to get like really ugly because I did like, I think 18 to 19 wounds, what was already over the dice roll, and I did 0 damage. And of course, it does need to be like that, but I think it starts, especially against these 2-up armies, we need to invest way too much to actually enable them that good. What doesn't mean you shouldn't bring them, of course not. I would still think probably the best unit in our army, I would say, where you put them in is 100% correct. It just like feels overall for Votann, or at least I feel it like that it's basically really hard to reliable kill things, and I'm always sitting there and be like, if this doesn't work now, I'm basically fucked because then my Thunder cannot dead and my whole game plan basically goes down the road.
Yeah.
So you're in agreement that our issue isn't even like the +1 wound issue. It's more of our AP.
Yes, it's 100%.
We've lost our access to ignore cover.
Yeah.
So you're trying to lean towards the AP. Was it AP3 for the plasmas?
Yeah. Basically, I'm thinking because
you're leaning
AP3 is
towards
such
Our
independent.
AP.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an
Makes
independent
sense.
unit, which I can see. It doesn't require the support of a 3-mana Thunderkin, which
Yeah.
I can understand that it's a standalone unit. At that point, I don't think you need the call with the +1 wound because that's another 100 points you're adding to the unit. I think
Yeah,
just
but
stripping cover. Strength 7 is still, or what, strength 7 plasmas? I mean, you're wounding on 3s. Goes
yeah,
to
you're
2s
wounding.
with +1
You're
wound.
wounding. Yeah.
Yeah.
With strength 7, they basically have the strength that we always wanted to have on the bikes,
Yeah.
and that's why they were so good with the +1 to wound because everything goes on 2s or on 4s with them, and with lethals and everything we can. I mean, damage -1 targets are still our bane with them, but hey, it is how it is. We need to be happy with what we have left right now. This is at least my point because I always want to take the enhancement, and I always feel like that with the Iron Master, the Thunderkin squad gets too expensive for me. But this is more like a feeling in terms of points. I mean, honestly, we are all sitting down there at the list builder, and we are like, 200 points. We could take this. Too expensive. Maybe we could discharge. Like, I honestly, so much times I just want to take the Doctor Doom, like how I would call him. And I'm always sitting there and be like, oh no, he's costing 75 and not 70. Nothing is working.
Yeah.
I feel like still in terms
I
of.
will say that's something that bothers me.
Sorry?
Is the amount of strength 7 that we have.
Yes.
We're wounding both Terminators and on 3s. I think that a lot of our strength 7 should go up to strength 8, and that solves a ton more problems than that we currently have. So like the Mater autocannon being strength 7, that's fine. That's just sustained hits, whatever. But like as our Berserks being all strength 7, they should go to strength 8, so it's an actual decision that you have to make. Because being strength 5 going into Space Marines versus strength 7 going into Space Marines is the exact same. To Terminators, it's 4s and 3s, which is not really the difference of light and day. 5 and 8 going into Terminator, or at least is a difference. So plasmas and all variety, beamers and all variety should go up to strength 8. Beamer on the land fort staying strength 10 or even potentially going to strength 11. I can see happening, but we should definitely go up either +1 strength in just about everything, or they need to give us access to things like Twin Linked. Rerolling 1 to wound is cute, but I think they're not giving us enough of an answer to a breakpoint. They're putting us in an awkward position of the breakpoints, which is not great.
Yeah. So I guess just before, it is getting pretty late, so just before we wrap up the stream here, I think you all said some really good points, and we were all I think we all still are very excited and positive about the new book. There's a lot to love.
Oh,
There's a
100%.
lot of fun stuff in here. There's a lot of good things in here, good tools. But I think the biggest thing is that there are doubts and concerns over some of the output. It was one of the biggest things I flagged when I did the initial review, especially the loss of ignore cover is massive, and not adjusting our AP points to compensate for it. And like you mentioned, Ronnie, the strength decrease across the board. It feels like we're still playing with access to +1 to wound, despite us not having it anymore, which is it's a little bit painful. I'm curious to see. I'm still optimistic, but I'm very curious to see how we fare once everything formally launches. I know everybody's gotten various levels of practice in with the new book. But once it officially goes live, I am very curious to see how we hold up. Because I think we have a good foundation. I just think there's some small tweaks that could be made, especially in points, that could help alleviate some of that pressure of feeling like you're a little bit light on actual consistent output. Having a couple extra units could make a big difference. Anyone want to add some closing thoughts here, just to wrap up before we end the stream? I guess
I would say we need Steeljacks on bikes. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, so we could replace another one of our units.
Classic. The German engineering. Go, Tim.
Peak efficiency.
Oh yeah. Just imagine the bike, the Steeljack is sitting there shooting on the left side is the Berserk with the hammer and like swinging around and it's like, bring me into the melee.
Yeah.
I would like that.
That would be pretty funny, actually. Jordan, any closing thoughts on your hopes or expectations about the
Don't
Codex
run all hammers.
Don't run all hammers.
No, I'm just excited for. I get to play with rules that I have not even, like, I haven't played with Blown Up All Edition.
Yeah.
I haven't played with like CP reduction. You know, that's gonna feel nice.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a bunch of like tools. Like, I finally get to play Warhammer, right? Or I get to play 10th edition instead of playing Warhammer, right?
Yeah.
Which is like cool.
Yeah.
At what cost? But at what cost?
At what cost?
Did I read or something? I don't know. I said a lot of things and then it was just like nothing. Just like I froze.
Yeah. You we heard you through your counter to Tim earlier in terms of the debate between the Hearthguard. But yeah, go ahead, Ronnie. Give us your closing thoughts on the book.
Oh, so closing thoughts is just make sure that you have a good balance in your lists. Don't just dedicate your list to anti-tank, anti-elite because we have access to it. Make sure you're putting plenty of screening and scoring in your list as well. And again, understand the identity of our army has changed. I think that's like my biggest message to everyone that's playing Votann is understand we are no longer a trade pressure army. Your opponent can pressure you effectively, and it will be a problem to play around your army rule.
Yeah.
But at the same time, understand that you have a whole I played lists as toolboxes, and we have more tools to play with now. Just understand each of your units may have different identities.
Tim, it's well said. Tim, any last thoughts before we close off?
I am just a guest here. I was happy that I could already talk. I don't want to steal anything here.
Your opinion is extremely valuable to us, Tim. Please share your closing thoughts.
Closing opinion. Ronnie is wrong. Thunderkin are bad. Berserks are bad.
We'll redo the tier list.
Play 60 warriors, play 30 Jaegers, the rest with Steeljacks just run to the enemy. No, I think basically everything that was said is basically right. Try to play a bit diverse. I would go even a bit more forward and would look into, okay, do I actually want to have, what is the meta I'm facing? And then at least try to specialize, because this is the thing we can do. If we know against what are we playing, we are kind of good into it. And there will be now some matches you will auto lose, and I would still say you need an Earthshaker as an example in every list because you play against Eldari. But if you say, okay, there's only one Eldari in my whole meta that I could play, then just don't take it, because if you have bad luck, you have bad luck.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well said. And I think there's just one comment I want to answer here, because I think it's a great way to end the stream. From a Tiny Goose, is the new book better or worse than the Index? I think, as you've heard here tonight, in my humble opinion, after everything we've discussed, it's different. There are things that are significantly better. There are things that are a little bit worse compared to the Index. But I think despite all this, it has moved, I should say, in a positive direction. I think this is a healthier direction for the army, and I think from here we have a very solid foundation from which small changes could be made to improve, if there is anything once it goes live that is problematic. All right, guys.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a matter of whether the book is better or worse than the index. I think it's different.
It's different.
And we're all going to get used to it.
Exactly.
If I had the choice of current data sheets playing index or old data sheets playing Codex, I would probably lean towards current data sheets playing index. Actually, no, I'd probably do old data sheets playing Codex. Access to Ignores cover was a lot more valuable.
Yeah.
People are again a lot more worried about not having plus little wound. I think our issue is again more our lack to ignore cover.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. Well, Ronnie, Jordan, a surprise visit by Tim, our esteemed guest. Thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. I know we have spoken a lot. I know we can continue to speak a lot more. So for everybody's sake and for my sound sleep tonight, we will end the stream
3.5
here.
hours of Votann talk. So exciting.
For 16 units, 22 units, whatever it is. All right, guys. Well,
When
thank you,
the
everybody.
24-hour stream starts.
Yeah, 24-hour stream. That's going to be the modeling one once I finally get mine a week from now. You guys are all so ahead of me. I'm going to have 1 week to build, paint, and prep for a teams tournament on the next weekend, so it's going to be very fun.
Easy.
Just on you. Just build one Capricorn. You're good.
Yeah, just one Capricorn. So thank you guys so much to all the viewers. Thanks for tuning in. 120 concurrent viewers is absolutely incredible. Thanks for listening to us all ramble on about our favorite army. And I will catch you all in the next one. Let me end the stream.